Welcome in, everyone, to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Chris is here. I don't know where Mark's at. He said he was going to. We'll see if he texts me back or not, but whatever. Dude, crazy weekend in college football. I shouldn't say that. It wasn't too crazy, but
I think NFL might have been crazier with some of the games that happened there.
probably, yeah. But anyways, let's get into it here. Starting off on Friday, we had a boatload of games. We covered all of them except one. So number 24, Houston beating Memphis 31-13. Quarterback stats, very similar. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Tune also scored on the ground. But I think with Houston, really it's been their running game that has gotten them forward most of the year. McCaskill was the guy leading the way the early half, and then Tazon Henry has come on here late in the season to give them a good 1-2 punch there for the Cougars, who I'm actually watching play Butler in the Maui Invitational in Vegas right now, college basketball. But yeah, good win for the Cougs.
It's funny though. I mean, you said that they controlled the run game, which clearly they did, but together those two running backs only had 22 touches, or 22 carries, I should say, not touches, because they had 4 catches as well on top of that. But still, it's not a lot of workload for the running backs.
Yeah. Definitely good averages, though. I mean, fantastic averages to say that. But, yeah, their defense in the run game, I think, is what they got going well. And the play action with Clayton Tune is working. We'll have to see how it does this weekend and then in the American Championship against Cincinnati. But, yeah, Nathaniel Dell, their leading receiver there at 100 yards. Calvin Austin, love that kid from Memphis. Dynamic 100-yard performance from him as well. And defensively, I'm going with Marcus Jones. This guy is everything. He does literally everything for Houston. He returns kicks. He plays defense. The only thing he needs to do is play offense, and he'll be good. Yeah, 6 tackles, 5 solos, 3 pass selections, and 2 interceptions.
That's what I like to see from defensive backs.
Houston covered -9.5, under 59. Washington State, bowl eligible, routing Arizona 44-18. Jaden Delora, nice night, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Bolstered by running back Max Borghi, who is having a nice time as well for the Cougs. And Washington State, I mean, what can you say? Since their head coach Nick Rolovich got fired like a month ago, I mean, they have been great. And now they're going to be in a bowl game.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what a coaching change could do for some teams. And like you mentioned, they've been on fire. And I mean, this is the second to last, this was the second to last game of the season. But now I guess the last one doesn't technically matter as much. But
well, I wouldn't say that. It definitely matters. It's Washington State's last game is the Apple Cup against Washington. So rivalry game always matters, no matter what the records are. But yeah, terrible season for Arizona. You know, they got their first win in a long time 2 weeks ago. But yeah. Calvin Jackson Jr. here, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great night for him. And Travell Harris scoring 2 touchdowns as well for Washington State. Defensively, Jahad Woods, I guess. 12 tackles, 8 solos, 1.5 tackles for loss, pass selection, and a pick.
Yeah, he definitely filled out the stat sheet the most, so why not?
Washington State cover -14.5, over 52.5. This one broke my heart. Air Force gets the win 41-39 in triple overtime. I was
There we go.
listening to this game as I was working, and luckily I didn't lose. I pushed on this game +2 for Nevada, but man, it just crushes me because I had so much hope for Nevada coming into the year. I thought they were going to win the Mountain West, and this all but does end their efforts to get to the conference championship.
Mm-hmm.
But they were down 17-3 early, and then they were down 24-10 at the end of the third quarter. Scored twice to get it to overtime. It's just Air Force completely dominated. I mean, their triple option was unstoppable. They ran for 476 yards at 5.7 per clip, 37 and a half minutes time of possession. And also 9 of 17 on third down, 3 of 4 on fourth down. And Carson Strong, I mean, again, he's putting up numbers that would seem to be winnable statistics, but his defense just could not stop Air Force all night.
I mean, I don't know if it would have really mattered that much, but I would have liked to maybe see with that number of attempts, I would have maybe liked to have seen him in the 30s with completions, but yeah.
How it ended was Nevada or Air Force got the 2-point conversion in the first half of triple overtime, and Nevada couldn't get it in. I didn't see the play, but people were saying that it was like 1,000% pass interference on Air Force. That it should have been called, and Nevada should have got another shot at the 2-point conversion. But didn't get called, and Air Force won. So this keeps Air Force alive for the Mountain West. We'll talk about that more when we get to the Utah State game in a little bit. But yeah, DeAndre Hughes, I mean, 221, 2 touchdowns, 9.6 per carry. Ridiculous. Brad Roberts, 117 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, 476 total yards rushing for the Falcons.
I mean, it's crazy, though. I mean, I know Air Force is the triple option ever, but the fact that DeAndre Hughes is listed as a wide receiver and he had those kind of numbers on the ground is kind of crazy.
Yeah, they're running him on jet sweeps. He was the pitch man a lot of the times and whatnot. Dobbs had another. I mean, when does Romeo Dobbs not have a great night? 11 receptions, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Orton as well, 8 for 105. Cole Turner, their outstanding tight end, scored twice. But again, I feel like it's a lost season for Nevada, and Carson Strong's more than likely Carson Strong's last year at Nevada. I would think it's his. I think him, Dobbs, and Turner all leave after this year. All 3 are NFL caliber players.
Yeah.
Defensively, Air Force had a lot of defensive stats, but I'm going to go with Vince Sanford. 6 tackles, 5 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles lost, and QB hurry.
Yeah, Air Force's defense obviously won out, but neither defense obviously was all that great with the way the score went. But I do have to just shout out the Nevada defensive guy you got there, Sam Hammond, who got 11 tackles, all of which were solos. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, they were hitting Carson Strong early and often in Reno. And that's what I love about Carson Strong, too. He is one of the toughest guys you'll ever see. out there at the quarterback position. Like I said, Air Force -2 pushed over 54.5. Number 19, San Diego State's close one in Las Vegas, 28-20 over UNLV. And again, I hate San Diego State so much. They should. There's no way that they should be 10-1. They just keep eking out these games, and their quarterback play. I mean, the stats: 75% and 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's good, but and I know we hate talking about QBR, but look at the QBR though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that says what all you need to know about Lucas Johnson. Not efficient in his passing.
But I don't understand. Like you said it already. QBR is a stupid stat, but 18 for 24. That's 75%. That's not bad. And 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. That's not bad either.
But it accounts the yards to the completions, I believe.
I mean, still over 10 yards a completion though.
Yeah. But Justin Rogers threw 305 yards on 15 completions.
Yeah, so over 20 yards, but still. I mean,
and 1 less touchdown, but I don't know. I have no clue how QBR works. I don't know the formula, but I hate San Diego State so much. They should have lost to Nevada. They should have lost to a lot of other teams, but they're going to be in the friggin' – well, they might be in the conference championship, I will say.
Who was their 1 loss again?
I have to I think it was Boise State, Fresno State.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say might make the conference championship. Because if you look at the Mountain West, I know I said we were going to talk about that in the Utah State thing, but Utah State's in the other division. So we'll talk about the West division right now. So there's one scenario left open. San Diego State is in right now, but they host Boise State, and that is the key game. Boise State, San Diego State is the massive game this weekend for the Mountain West, because if San Diego State wins, they're in. If San Diego State loses and Fresno State beats San Jose State, who will be fighting Fresno State very hard because San Jose State has to win to get bowl eligible. If Fresno State wins, San Diego State loses, Fresno State is then in as the West Division champ. And I guess we'll leave that there until we get to the Utah State game, or should we go over the rest of it?
Well, I had a question about the other division, but I mean, we can wait till we get to the Utah State game.
Yeah. We'll leave that there. We'll leave the Mountain Division until we get to the Utah State game. Or the Boise State game, I guess. No, we didn't do Boise State this week. Okay, Utah State. We'll save it for them. But yeah, Steve Jenkins for the Rebels, great nights, 5 for 176. And defensively, I'm going with the bottom guy for the Aztecs, Andrew Alecki. 5 tackles, 3 solos, half tackle for loss, and a 17-yard pick six.
Yeah, it's a shame though that somebody like Jacoby Windman had such a wasted performance. That's a pretty good, solid day too. 12 tackles, 6 solo, 3 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss. But it was all for naught because they lost.
Yeah. UNLV covered though, plus 11 over 41. All right, Saturday's games here. Number 1, Georgia romping Charleston Southern 56-7. We had a bunch of quarterbacks play, 3 for Georgia. There was actually 2 quarterbacks for Charleston Southern. 4 quarterbacks for Georgia played, 2 for Charleston Southern. I just didn't put the other 2 guys on there because their stats were irrelevant. Yeah, it was as you would expect. I mean, Jordan Davis, interestingly, didn't have any defensive stats. He didn't make any tackles when he was on defense, but he did get in offense twice, got 2 carries, and scored a touchdown on senior day, which was great to see. And yeah, Brock Bowers, again, continuing to have a marvelous freshman season, 2 touchdowns. And weirdly enough, the Georgia defense did give up a point. It was technically because the touchdown for Charleston Southern, the Buccaneers, Garris Schwarting there, 65-yard fumble return for a touchdown. UGA had a tipped pass that they picked off. And then as UGA defender was running the ball back, Schwarting stripped him and took the ball 65 yards to the house. So technically, UGA's defense didn't give up any points.
Yeah. I mean, that's almost as bad as the double fumble in the Jets game, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, this was a no-brainer of a game. But was the quarterback carousel only because of how bad of a game it was, or was there injury related?
No, yeah, it was like 35-0, and then JT Daniels came in, and then after it was like 49-0, Carson Beck came in, and then when it was 56-7, Brock Vandegrift got a couple snaps at the end, threw 1 pass, didn't complete it, but Mark is finally here. And he's on the phone. But yeah. Yeah, there actually wasn't a lot of special defensive stats in this game, weirdly enough. There was more with the Charleston Southern defense. I don't know why, but yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with the winning side. Latavius Brini, 1 tackle, 1 solo, 2 pass deflections.
Why not?
Charleston Southern covered. Yeah, plus 52. Yeah. Thanks to
Warner for that 1 fumble recovery touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, Schwarting got it. And then the over 58.5 also because of that.
Sure somebody was happy about.
All right, number 4 Ohio State, 56-7 over number 7 Michigan State. This was just I switched to a different game after like the first quarter of this game because I was just like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't expect anything near this.
No. I mean, I knew Ohio State was going to win this game, but I thought it was going to be a lot closer of a game than almost 50 points.
Yeah. I mean, CJ Stroud, if it weren't for Bryce Young's performance against Arkansas, which we'll talk about, I think CJ Stroud would easily have won the Heisman with this performance. I don't think it gets much better. And I hate this again, QBR. I think he should have a perfect 100 QBR in this game, not because he missed 3 passes. He got a 98.7.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about that though. Like, I wonder if those 3 passes that he missed were his fault, or did the receivers drop those 3 passes? Like, I don't know.
Couldn't tell you. Like I said, I turned off the first quarter. Yeah, and Michigan State, you see Kenneth Walker's not on here because he wasn't Michigan State's leading rusher. He couldn't get anything going on the ground. killing his Heisman hopes. And yeah, it was just complete domination from Ohio State offensively and defensively, which was weird because, you know, like, well, Ohio State's defense isn't that great, but it rang true that Michigan State's passing defense is the worst in the nation, and it's exactly what Ohio State attacked, and it worked.
I mean, it also helps that they have one of the best receivers in college right now too, with Chris Olave.
They have the best trio of receivers. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, all over 100 yards, all scoring touchdowns. And then I guess Stroud was like, well, I guess I'll throw one to someone else. So he's like, yeah, Julian Fleming, get yourself a touchdown too. But yeah, it was terrible game, terrible game. And did not even live up, wasn't even close to what you would think of a 4-7 matchup.
And this definitely eliminates any small chance that Michigan State had of making the playoff too.
Yeah, they are out of the Big Ten running now as well. Mark, are you finally on? I don't know. He showed his picture for a little bit and then he came off. Defensively, I don't know. I feel like I want to go with Darius Snow, but that seems like your kind of guy, Chris.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I mean, the tackles alone are great, but there wasn't much defensive performance by Michigan State, so I don't know. I can't really go with them in this one. I think I'd rather go with Court Williams there.
Yeah, I was going to go with Tyleek Williams. 1 tackle, 1 solo, sack, tackle, floss, pass, flexion, and QB hurry. Ohio State covered minus 19.5, under 70. Clemson in an upset, 48, not even just an upset, a drubbing at home, 48-27 over number 10 Wake Forest. Mark got it right. Lone wolfing the Tigers. Their defense was just too good, and Wake Forest defense was terrible once again. I mean, the running game was especially potent. Kobe Pace, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shipley at 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also threw a touchdown. Did Shipley. The backs combined for 43 total carries. 303 total yards.
Yeah, that's how Clemson's going to win with the way that their offense is right now, because they do not have a good quarterback, at least in my opinion. I know some people might like him, but I said this from the beginning of the season that they were nowhere near what they were last year, obviously. But I didn't realize though that Clemson's record was as good as it is. I thought they were like 7-4, but no, they're 8-3.
They're sliding under the radar, man. And they have a chance now at the ACC championship game. Their scenario, they need NC State and Wake Forest to lose this weekend, and they need to beat South Carolina. That's how they get in. NC State's playing in the Battle of North Carolina against UNC. Wake Forest is playing against Boston College.
I mean, it's very possible because I think Clemson can easily win the game against South Carolina. And I mean, wait, where is the game though? Wake
Hello.
Hello.
Finally here.
Finally. Sorry guys, I had a phone call. That is about the job dilemma. We're gonna have to make a decision.
Cool.
But
Versus at Boston College.
I know that we're on Clemson and Wake Forest, and not to drag it on how long you guys have been talking, but I told you guys you have, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best, and they didn't.
Yeah, we were just talking about the scenario for the ACC with Wake Forest and Clemson and NC State.
It is a conundrum, to say the least. It's going to depend on some losses, but it's fun. No one from the ACC is getting into the national championship.
No.
I don't think it's fun, Mark. Clemson should not be in the ACC championship game.
Hey, why? You play ball games for that reason.
Not good. We want parity. I don't want the same freaking team winning every single year. Plus, granted, I don't think they would win even if they got there because they'd have to play Pitt, and I believe in Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh defense. Granted, the Pittsburgh defense has given up a lot of points recently, but I think Kenny Pickett could beat Clemson.
If you want different people, then you go to an 18 playoff, not a 12. But neither of these teams are going to get into the college football playoff. And so I do believe that it could be Clemson and Pitt, or it could be NC State and Pitt. Which one's more exciting?
I think the NC State Pitt game would be very exciting.
Yeah, I don't have the scenario for NC State. I just had the Clemson. I think the scenario for NC State would be Wake and Clemson both lose. I think. No. Because that still wouldn't work because Wake had already beat. I don't think NC State can make it. Because Wake has the head-to-head against NC State. So even if Wake Forest loses, then they're at 2 conference losses. I think Clemson would get in. So
all I know is I was happy about this because Wake Forest was all about offense. I would have never told you that Clemson was going to score 48. That is crazy. I thought they would win 27-21, but they won 48-27.
yeah, and that 48 points is the second most that Clemson has put up this year. And their most was 49 against FCS South Carolina State. But Clemson's on a 4-game win streak now, going to South Carolina. The short little trip from Clemson to Columbia. So I still think Wake Forest gets in.
I mean, it's a win in your in scenario for them, so
I think they beat Boston College.
it'll be tough.
It's in Boston, but yeah, I think Boston College. I mean, Boston College just lost to freaking Florida State, so how you do that, I don't know.
No, but if it was in Wake Forest, I'd say it's a definite win for them because they are 6-0 at home this season and 3-2 on the road. But
again, though, it's how do you lose to Florida State? That's my question to Boston College. And I actually bet live on Boston College because I thought they were coming back. They had the momentum. And Boston College doesn't have anything to play for except to play spoiler to Wake Forest. Boston College is already bowl eligible. So, but yeah, anyways, already talked about the running backs. Receiving wise, Bo Collins, 137 yards and a touchdown for Clemson. A.T. Perry. I love A.T. Perry and Jakari Roberson. Those two are fantastic for the Demon Deeks. Defensively, it's all Clemson. I mean, I'm going with our guy, James Skalski, Alex's guy, James Skalski. 5 tackles, 3 solos, sack, tackle, 1.5 tackles lost, and a QB hurry. Also had a fumble recovery as well. Clemson covered -3.5, over 57 easily. Number 13, Oklahoma beating Iowa State 28-21. And man, Iowa State just cannot get over Oklahoma. They play them close every year, and they just can't beat them. They played them close in the Big 12 championship last year. They lost a close one at home against Oklahoma in the regular season last year as well. And I mean, they get so close. Like this one, Iowa State was driving to tie the game. I watched the end of this game. I didn't watch the entire game, but the end of it was great. Brock Purdy was driving them down the field. They got 2 4th-down conversions. They came upon another 4th-down conversion from like the Oklahoma. It was like the 15-yard line or 13, something like that. They could get a first down at like the 3, I think it was. And just got a little bit of pressure and threw it a little bit too high of his of Chase Allen, I think it was the intended target. He's like 6'4", and if he was 6'6", he probably would have caught it. But yeah, man, just they cannot get over Oklahoma.
Which sets up Bedlam. It sets up Bedlam.
Yeah. And yeah, Bedlam's going to be for all the marbles in the Big 12, I believe, because we'll talk about the Baylor game here in a while. But yeah, that conference now is the winning in for whoever it is. And if Oklahoma State loses, it's a rematch of Bedlam in the Big 12 championship. But if Oklahoma loses, Baylor is then in to the Big 12 championship. Baylor is the biggest Oklahoma State fan this weekend that they could be. Granted, they got to get their own job done, and they play Texas Tech. They host Texas Tech, who, again, is just like I was mentioning about Boston College. Texas Tech already bowl eligible. They're not going to be fighting for anything necessarily. So, yeah, I think Baylor gets it done, and then I think Baylor gets into the Big 12 championship because I'm rooting for Oklahoma State in the Big 12 anyways. So, yeah, Caleb Williams, again, it's like, what are you doing? I mean, the kid is not that great. He got help, luckily, from Kenny D. Brooks. Had a 100-yard performance on the ground, but I don't think with either quarterback, they're just like San Diego State. I have no idea how Oklahoma's 10-1 right now.
I don't know if it's schedule. Everybody always talks about people don't play people. I think Bama plays a harder schedule than Oklahoma. I think Cincinnati played a harder schedule than Oklahoma. That's just my opinion when you're talking about, maybe playing Indiana and different teams. This is a game, in my opinion, coming to Bedlam, that, again, you switch quarterbacks and you win that game. If they win this game, I really do think that you will see people that had their Heisman Trophy winner at the beginning of the season. I do not think Caleb Williams will get it done. If he does, then he can laugh at me all he wants.
Especially in the environment that he will be playing in at Stillwater at night with, I would think, I don't know, but if it was me running Oklahoma State, I would be like, all right, Bedlam, Oklahoma needs the win to get in the Big 12 championship. Let's do a blackout. If I was Oklahoma State, we're wearing our all black jerseys and we're going in and playing our state rivals. It's already crazy.
I like all black colors, but it's also a funeral.
it's already crazy enough in Stillwater when teams play there, but there's something special when they had that blackout there and all the students are dressed in all black and stuff. With the black and orange, man, doesn't get better than those colors combined, I don't think.
Yeah.
Losing effort here. I love me some Charlie Kohler for Iowa State. 12 receptions, 152 yards and a touchdown. He was instrumental on that late drive that stalled out. And defensively, I mean, dude, Jalen Redmond for Oklahoma, 2 tackles, a solo, one sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, 4 QB hurries, and a 42-yard fumble return for a touchdown for the big man. Just before halftime, I believe that was. So, yeah. Oklahoma covered -3, under 59. Number 16, Texas A&M, 52-3 win over Prairie View A&M. Yeah, again, I go back to what I said on Friday. I hate the SEC because they do these cupcake Week 11 games and it's stupid. Talking about Georgia, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. But yeah, Jaden Stewart, look at him, 100-yard performance for the Panthers there in a losing effort. But, I mean, the quarterback play for Prairie View is atrocious. They had two quarterbacks through a total of 12 passes. One guy, this was the leading passer in terms of yards. Trayvon Conley, 1 of 7. The other quarterback was 1 of 5 for 3 yards, I believe it was. So, yeah. And A&M, I mean, what else? They ran the ball a lot. 4 total touchdowns between the 3 running backs there. And yeah.
I don't know if you could get a weaker opponent than they played. I know we all played weak opponents, but can you get a weaker one?
Yeah. I mean, technically.
Don't go off the records. Don't go off.
Well, the Prairie View A&M was just ranked in the FCS top 25 2 weeks ago. They're not terrible for an FCS school.
I don't get mad at the SEC West for doing this. The SEC West is so loaded. I don't care if you play anybody in this week, but the SEC East should not be allowed to do this.
That's divisional discrimination, Mark.
With Dan Mullen's firing, Georgia should maybe lose a game to Tennessee in the next 3 years. Maybe.
And Moose Muhammad scoring 2 touchdowns here, and then Aaron Hansford on defense, 8 tackles, 4 souls, tackle for loss, 17-yard fumble return for a touchdown for A&M. The Aggies A&M, not the Panthers A&M. Texas A&M covered -41.5, over 50 hit. A&M by themselves. See, at least A&M covered though, Mark. Georgia couldn't cover. Number 25, Mississippi State, 55-10 over Tennessee State. Eddie George not having a good day in this one. But, yeah, Will Rogers had a fun day. 391, 5 touchdowns, no turnovers. Yeah. Again, it's what you would expect. Mekhi Polk, 110 yards and a touchdown, did turn it over once. I cashed a small play, Mississippi State -6.5. Third quarter, I believe it was spread. So, and Austin Williams as well, 3 of Will Rogers' 5 touchdowns, along with 75 yards, all 4 receptions. Defensively, Tyra Sweet, 5 tackles, 4 souls, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Mississippi State -44, they covered. and by 1, mind you. And the over 56.5 hit. Luckily, Tennessee State scored. All right. Non-ranked games here. Penn State 28-0 shutout of Rutgers at home. Christian Veilleux, Sean Clifford got banged up in this game early. The freshman, Christian Veilleux, came in and played outstanding. I had never heard of this kid. Taquan Roberson was the guy that had come in before, as we know, for Sean Clifford. There was like a stomach thing going, or a stomach bug going around the Penn State quarterback room this week. And I guess Veilleux was one of the lucky ones that didn't get it. And so he was the guy that was taking the first team reps on Friday, I think they said, or Thursday, whenever their last practice was before game prep. But yeah, came in and, like I said, was great. 235, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. And I couldn't have asked for more.
3 touchdowns. That's a pretty good number.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, this gives me hope. It gives me hope at the quarterback position for Penn State going forward. If Veilleux is going to be the guy in the future, I would like it. I think he's going to be fine. Once again, though, Penn State, they're really not much on the ground. Something they have. That's priority number 1 in the offseason is whether it's in-house or the transfer portal, you have to get better linemen and you have to find a better running back than what they have right now. So, Parker Washington, Jahan Dotson, great games. Touchdowns for those two once again. And Malik Mega left all alone on his 67-yard touchdown, his 4th career catch, I think they said. And it was freshman to freshman. Veilleux to Mega there. Yeah, defensively, again, it's every week, dude. Anytime we got a Penn State game, who else is going to be on here? Arnold Ebiketie, 5 tackles, a solo sack, 1.5 tackles lost, 2 QB hurries. The man is a stud. What can I say? Penn State covered -14, under 45. Coastal Carolina, 35-21 win over Texas State. Grayson McCall returned in this game. Remember, Mark, we didn't know if he was going to on Friday. We hadn't heard anything about it. And
Himself a day.
Quite a return he did have. 78.6% completion, 319, 5 touchdowns, no turnovers, ran it 12 times for 53 yards. Couldn't have asked for a better return from the amazing Grayson McCall.
I think that, they don't lose that one game without if he was there. I think he just said, hey, look, this is what you guys missed. We would only have 1 loss.
Yeah, last week, 2-point loss to Georgia State. But yeah, Calvin Hill there for the Bobcats. Nice 100-yard touchdown for them. And Texas State was actually in the game for the majority of it. And Coastal kind of pulled away in the 4th quarter. But props to them. Nothing to play for. They're 7 losses coming into this game, 8 losses now. Just trying to play spoiler or whatever. Shamari Jones, another great day for the Shants. 100-yard day for Javon Hiley, the highly likely combination. They scored a touchdown each. And Cameron Brown scored twice. Great times for the Shants. Unfortunately, not in the Sun Belt Championship game. But we'll see them in a should be some semi-high-profile bowl game.
Yeah.
Defensively, CJ Brewer having a nice season at defensive tackle. 5 tackles, 2 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss for Coastal Carolina. Texas State covered plus 24.5 and under 60. Number 17, Iowa beating Illinois 33-23. And this game was troubling early for Iowa. 10-0 deficit after the first quarter. Turned it on because of Tyler Goodson. Quarterback play was terrible, both sides. I mean, at least Brandon Peters threw for 248 and 2 touchdowns. But Padilla is terrible, just like Spencer Petras. And again, like I said, luckily they have Tyler Goodson, or else, I don't know where Iowa would probably be 4-7, just like Illinois is.
Well, it's the other teams we talked about, San Diego State. If you have a different quarterback, maybe you don't have 2 losses.
Yeah. I think they should have 3 losses anyways.
Stop it with the Penn State thing.
But yeah, Goodson 27 for 132, 1 reception for 6 yards there. The thing is, Iowa also got helped in a multitude of ways. They scored a touchdown on defense and special teams in this game. Otherwise, they probably lose. You can see there, Jack Campbell, he's on my board. 8 tackles, 4 solos, QB hurry, and a 32-yard pick 6. And then Charlie Jones returned. I guess he was out for injury the last game or 2. 100-yard kick return for a touchdown. And then again, they weren't scoring touchdowns on offense. As you can see, that's why I put the kicker on here for the Hawkeyes. 4 of 5, 51 long, and 3 of 3 extra points for Caleb Shudak. So they were moving the ball with Goodson, but they weren't. They only scored 3 touchdowns, and 2 of them they only scored 1 offensive touchdown, I should say. So, yeah. Illinois covered plus 12 and over 38.5 hit. Number 8, Notre Dame. 55-0 shutout of Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's got a lot of momentum coming into the game this week, right, Mark?
It's happening. No.
Jack Cohn, nice day. 285, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Weird. Tyler Buchner was the leading rusher for the Irish, the backup quarterback there. 5 for 67. And yeah, kind of expected. Maybe didn't expect this bad of a game, but knew Notre Dame was going to win, no less. So, Kyron Williams did score twice. Logan Diggs scored twice for the Irish, 1 through the air, 1 on the ground. Yeah, Mike Mayer scored again.
That dude is, he's fun to watch.
There's something about tight ends, man. There's a lot of them in college football that I just fall in love with every week. It's crazy. Defensively, I don't even know because a lot of good defensive stats for the Irish, but probably going to go with Myron Tagovailoa Omosa, 2 quarterback hurries and a 70-yard fumble return for a touchdown.
I like it.
I mean, you had Jack Kaiser scoring a 43-yard pick 6 for the Irish as well. Otherwise, the overall stats, I actually like Jordan Dominic for the Jackets the best, but I like defensive touchdowns better. Notre Dame covered minus 18 under 58 because Tech couldn't score. Could have just all you needed was 3 points to push it.
Mhm.
Number 2, Alabama, close at home against number 21, Arkansas, 42-35. And again, I mentioned this when we talked about the Ohio State game. If Bryce Young doesn't have this kind of game, I think C.J. Stroud all but locks up the Heisman. But Bryce Young did have this game.
He did. Did he not have this game? My God.
Threw for the most yards in Alabama single game history, 559 yards, 5 touchdowns. And the sad thing for Arkansas is, like, what more do you want from KJ Jefferson? 326 and 3 touchdowns in his own game. It's just, Alabama's quarterback was better.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mad. I had Alabama minus 20.5. Georgia railed Arkansas. And I was like, this is in Tuscaloosa. How is Alabama not doing the same thing that Georgia did to Arkansas?
No, I like to see the trick play there too, though, by Reed Bauer.
That one pissed me off. I was like, come on, dude. But you hold into a field goal, and then they do that, and it's like the kid almost dropped it for one. Because it was a terrible throw. It was behind him. It was a great catch by Blake Kern, but yeah. I don't know. Alabama's offense is really good, but if Arkansas can do this on defense or on offense to their defense, I mean,
don't ever take what happened against Georgia and Arkansas and Alabama and Arkansas and think it translates to any other game.
Well, I'm just saying, if Alabama would somehow get into the college football playoff and they're playing like Ohio State,
I don't.
I'm going to do the same thing.
I don't.
Defense.
Here, record it, play it for Stephen A. Smith, play it for anybody else, unless the SEC championship is a blowout. And I mean, Georgia blows out Alabama by 21 plus. No, it's got to be 28. Alabama gets in. Georgia wins by 7. Georgia wins by 14. Alabama gets in. Alabama beats us. We both for sure get in. But who is going to overtake Alabama, even if Georgia beats Alabama by 14 points? Who?
Oklahoma State, a one-loss Big 12 Oklahoma State champion. Or, I hate this, but people are going to mention it, a one-loss Notre Dame. What they're going to say. That's what they're going to say. Because
Notre Dame will get in before Oklahoma State. Mark my words.
When we bring in the rankings tomorrow, Michigan State loses. That moves Oklahoma State up 2, probably, I would say, to 7.
But everything is money driven. The NCAA makes no money off of this. The bowl people who put it on, Verizon, Tostito, Shake My Foot bowl game, whatever it is. I'm making a pun there. But who's going to make you more money, Alabama or Oklahoma State? Are we going to have the barnyard traveling, or are we going to have Alabama traveling?
Oklahoma State.
Is it ever really fair?
Again, people want to see parity. I don't think it is good.
And you need to watch the NCAA basketball tournament when you have giant killers.
But why can't it be the same? Why can't
there's no parity in football unless we get an 18 playoff.
Mm-hmm.
There's parity in the NFL. Why can't there be parity in
There's really not any parity in the NFL.
What do you mean? Look at the NFC conference. There has not been a repeat NFC champion in quite some time, since the Seattle Seahawks did it.
But it's still the same teams. The same teams that everybody vies for at the beginning of the season are the same teams that are there.
Yeah.
The NFL, you can't take the NFL and make it college football because once you open your gates in the NFL, you break even on salary once you sell one ticket and one Coke in the concession. There is not the same in college football. College football, Georgia makes $183 million per year.
When you look
Maryland
at
makes 60. Maryland is never going to win a national championship.
When you look at the NFL, every single year, the NFL season starts. Every single team's fans think that they have a chance. Is that not right, Chris? Even as a Jets fan, you think every single year we have a chance.
No, you're telling me that Chris thought he had a chance of winning the Super Bowl this year?
Not a Saints.
No, but there is a hope.
The
there is a hope every year.
There's what hope were you thinking
year.
the Jets would win a Super Bowl champion?
No, there's hope every year that you're better than last year in the NFL.
Yeah, that could be one win.
It's not the same in college football, though. It's like, all right, well,
if you're a Maryland fan, you know you weren't going to win a championship this year. If you are a Kentucky fan, you knew you were not going to win the national championship this year. You had zero. If you're Vanderbilt, you had zero.
And then you had those rare seasons like 2019 with LSU where it's like a miracle run. And then
rare season? What are you talking about? That's a rare season.
What do you mean? No one expected LSU to do that.
They won a championship with Les Miles. That's
no one expected LSU to do that in 19. Yeah. Everyone was like, Bama, Bama, Bama.
I can't. I forget you're a Penn State fan. I forget. 1960 championships. Get out of here.
Yeah, no one expected LSU to do that in 2019. And then look what they've done.
The only person that they thought were going to compete with Alabama.
Look what they've done since.
National championship. Everybody
look what they've done since.
Dynasty had their little ducks in their little. We're going to win the championship this year.
But they haven't done anything since. That's why it's a miracle. It's an off the radar season. It's a little blip.
If you're in the SEC,
there's a line. There's a line, and then this is like Alabama every year, and then it's like, oh nope, LSU 2019, and then LSU's back to Bama.
I can't argue. If you're in the SEC, you have a chance. If you go,
Chris is just the moderator at this point.
Yeah, I'm letting you two go at it. Because it makes for some good content.
What I love about this game.
If only we had a video editor to cut it out, didn't we? Right, Chris?
What I love about this game, though, for real, is Arkansas, number 21, taking Alabama to the brink. Woo Pig Suey is on a trajectory that is just complete positive. Sam, you're doing a great job as a coach. If you were here at Georgia with Mel Tucker still, we'd win the national championship 100%.
Brian Robinson, 122-yard day for the Tide here. The receivers, Jamison Williams is a stud. 193 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Traylon Burton for Arkansas, 179, 2 scores. Mechie, 10 for 173 and a touchdown as well. And that one touchdown is to Jamison Williams, where Bryce Young just dropped a dime right over his shoulder, like 50 yards down the field, was outstanding.
I used to think this was running back university, and I think they're starting to give Ohio State money for a wide receiver to you.
But I thought you were going to go to the quarterback. I was like, yeah, but they've had some quarterbacks recently, but they haven't had a Heisman win. They haven't had a quarterback win the Heisman.
No longer game managers.
Defensively, Will Anderson Jr. Again is just ridiculous. Not eligible till 2023 for the NFL. So we get
that's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy.
11 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 3.5 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hurries.
I like it.
Arkansas covered plus 20.5 and over 58.5.
Come here, dude.
Number 6, Michigan, railing Maryland in College Park, 59-18. This sets up Maryland Rutgers next week. Winner gets to a bowl. Should be intriguing, at least.
Sorry, fighting US.
But yeah, Cade McNamara, efficient. They had the run game somewhat going, I guess. I mean, not a really good average, but did enough. And they scored on a kick return and a defensive score. So,
Yeah. Wait, so I'm kind of branching off the conversation that you guys were just having with the other game about like the college football playoff, but I was looking it up before, and obviously the actual rankings for the playoffs don't come out until tomorrow, but there is an article on ncaa.com saying the projected rankings, and it has Michigan at number 4, which would mean that they would make the playoff over Cincinnati, who's at number 5. I don't really agree with that.
yeah, it's stupid.
I would love to have Cincinnati in the college football playoffs. I think it would bring excitement with what Rusty is saying, different herds of people, different people that would watch this. It would maybe bring non-NCAA football fans into it. But when it comes down to it, and I think they could be the number 4, but if you have a 1-loss Michigan or a 1-loss Oklahoma or anybody, I could see the committee easily leaving Cincinnati out of the discussion in the top 4, if that makes sense. And guess what it would be like? It would be another UCF. And what did that do for college football, leaving somebody undefeated outside of that as well? It created even more buzz. And they think those fans aren't going to spend as much money in these bowl games. I think it's ridiculous. I think it is ridiculous. All I am saying as a commentator on our show, and I think a lot of people would say if they're on other shows that are ESPN or whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised if that actually happens. But it would, in a word that I would use, would be travesty. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because Cincinnati earned it. Cincinnati has done everything to get into the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll talk about
but money talks. I mean, ask politicians. Money talks.
Yeah, we'll talk about Cincinnati here in a little bit. But yeah, Michigan romping here. AJ Henning, 81-yard kick return touchdown for the Wolverines. And DJ Turner there, 2 tackles, 1 solo, 42-yard pick 6 for Michigan as well. Sets up the game to go to the Big Ten championship. Michigan, Ohio State, and it's in Ann Arbor, I believe.
Yeah. That's huge.
So I hate it, and I hate both those teams being a Penn State fan, but I will be the biggest Michigan fan, and it helps because my brother-in-law is a Michigan fan, so I will be rooting for him as well. I might actually be watching the game with him. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what he's doing for the game this weekend. But yeah. Michigan covered -16 over 58 by themselves. Number 15, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's on a path to the Big Ten championship. 7 wins in a row, 35-28 over Nebraska. And this was closer than I thought. Mark was right on Friday. Nebraska fights in every game. I thought Wisconsin, being on the roll that they are, they would just destroy them. And in a lot of respects, they did. I mean, the freshmen, Braylon Allen, holy hell. 22 carries, 228 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think he's going to get a lot more NIL deals than just the Iron Jock one that he has right now based on this game. But, yeah, Adrian Martinez, he is Nebraska. I mean, he's the only reason that they've been in a lot of games. And maybe he's the reason that Scott Frost is still there. Currently, anyways. Hanging on to whatever thread that he can. But yeah, Wisconsin is something else right now, and deservedly so. I don't know what that projection thing said about Wisconsin, Chris, but I would think they're going to be close to the top 10.
Wisconsin is number 14, apparently.
Well, I guess a lot of teams didn't lose this week, but I don't think there's, other than Graham Mertz not being that great at quarterback, I don't think there's many teams that are playing better than Wisconsin is right now.
Yeah, no.
Their defense combined with their running game.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Allen there, the tight end for Nebraska, 7 for 143. Samori Toure, also for the Huskers, 7 for 113 in a touchdown. Jake Ferguson, tight end for the Badgers, almost 100-yard performance there. And defensively, going with Colin Wilder for the Badgers, 2 tackles, a solo, 2 picks. Also got to mention Stephen Bracey there, 91-yard kick return touchdown. Nebraska covered +10 over 43.5. Number 18, Pitt, 48-38 over Virginia. I know this is tiny font. There was a lot. There was way too many statistics in this game, dude. Defensively, offensively, it was ridiculous. You would think
game you like to see, though.
You would think with how many points were scored, there wouldn't be defensive stats, right? But there were a lot. Brennan Armstrong returned for this game. Again, it was another one of those where we weren't sure if he was playing or not, and he had himself a day.
Mm-hmm.
Pickett had another great day as well. But I don't think anyone had a better day than Jordan Addison for Pitt. 14 receptions, 202 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I didn't even see that stat line yet. I was still looking at the running backs. I was going to say that the Pitt running backs had a great day, but yeah, no, nobody had a better day than Addison there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely crazy. You had, like you said, Vincent Davis, 100 yards for Pitt, 98-yard kick return for Israel Abanikanda. And then for Virginia, their do-it-all guy, their Taysom Hill, if you will, Keaton Thompson, 126 yards on the ground as well, and a touchdown. Dontavian Wicks had 144 yards for the Cavaliers. Just crazy amount of offense in this game. And like I said, there were also very, very many defensive performances as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Deslin Alexander, though. 6 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles lost, and a QB hurry.
I like.
Yeah, a lot of QB hurries on Kenny Pickett, on Brennan Armstrong. It didn't matter. They still threw it. They did combine for 3 interceptions, but I think 7 touchdowns outweighs that. And 827 total passing yards as well.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia covered, though, plus 12.5 and over 68.5. What a game. This was one of the few that I watched the entire game because, for one, when UAB got up early, I placed a little bet on UTSA because I was that confident that they would come back. And Frank Harris was marvelous in the fourth quarter. 323 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. The UTSA defense in the second half really stood up because they were getting shredded in the first half by Dylan Hopkins and Dwayne McBride, Trey Shropshire. but they came back, and to win it with 1 second left. Actually, they didn't even. They ran the clock out on the last play. They scored on the last play of the game, though. Frank Harris threw a ball. It got tipped by the defender, but it wasn't enough. And the trajectory of the ball still had enough momentum to get to Oscar Cardenas to score the game-winning touchdown. Absolutely fantastic. And I think it was by far UTSA's toughest test this season. But so happy that the Roadrunners are undefeated. And I think it was even greater because Sincere McCormick really didn't have that great of a day. They shut him down for the majority of it, and it was Frank Harris that shouldered the load and took it.
Yeah. And wait, didn't Mark go with UAB in this one?
Yes, Mark Lone Wolf to the Blazers.
So yeah, we got him back for that Clemson game in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. DeCorian Clark there, 100 yards, 104 yards off 6 catches. Trey Shropshire, 3 for 130 and 2 touchdowns. Already mentioned McBride there for the Blazers, 144 yards on the ground. And then, defensively, Alex Wright for UAB, all over the field, 5 tackles, 2 solos, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, pass deflection, and 2 QB hurries. LeBron was apparently just suspended a game.
For that fight he had last night.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. It's whatever. Let's see. UAB covered plus 3.5 by 0.5 point. And the over 53.5 hit. Appalachian State crushing Troy 45-7. Chase Bryce, nice day. Did throw 2 interceptions, but overall not terrible. Once again, though, Nate Noel in the ground game for the Mountaineers helped them out. 3 running backs listed there, 3 touchdowns. Well over 100 yards. And, Mountaineers getting it done on their way to the Sun Belt Championship, which I think they'll lose, but that's not the conversation right now. Defensively, I know Mark loves this guy, TD Roof. 4 tackles, 3 solos, sack, 2 tackles lost, and a pick.
Not a bad day.
Yeah. App State covers -10, over 51.5 by 0.5 point. 52 scored in this game. Now we'll talk about Cincinnati. Number 5, Cincinnati railing SMU 45-14. And people kept talking about, style points. They didn't do it the last 4 games, but they did it against probably the best team outside of Notre Dame that they've played all season.
Mm-hmm.
And did it in fashion, 48-14. Desmond Ritter, 5 total touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing, and 1 receiving. That one coming from Jordan Jones, the receiver, who also caught a touchdown and threw one to Desmond Ritter. Tanner Mordecai, what a trash day. I mean, good Lord, 66 yards off 15 completions? I mean, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's literally 4 yards of completion.
Yeah. But Jerome Ford returned in this game and was great. 20 for 82 and a touchdown, 2 receptions, 23 yards. Trey Tucker, Tyler Scott there for the Bearcats, 114 yards and 94 yards and a touchdown, respectively. Alec Pierce, 2 touchdowns. And yeah, defensively, Curtis Brooks for the Bearcats, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hurries. Let's see here. The Bearcats covered -9.5, under 65.5. Number 14, BYU, 17-point victory, 34-17 over Georgia Southern. I was mad I had BYU -20. They were in field goal range. If Georgia Southern just took all their timeouts and made BYU kick it, I think they would have pushed at the very least. Disappointing. Also, I don't know why they couldn't cover 20 against Georgia Southern. It's Georgia Southern, for crying out loud. But anyways, Jaron Hall was great. Tyler Algier was great. BYU as a whole was great. They did it in a variety of ways, and Algier down the stretch was unstoppable in the fourth quarter. So I like BYU. I think they're going to be, unfortunately for UTSA, I think BYU is going to end up being the highest ranked non-Power 5 team, and that will make BYU get into a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah. Although I think UTSA is the more fun team to watch, but yeah.
BYU's definitely got a lot of offense. They have a ton of guys that can score in a blink, but Algier is I love Tyler Algier the most on that team. Caught up on some news here. Let's see. Puka Nacua scored twice here. And defensively, I don't know, Jacob Robinson, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 picks.
Yeah, not much to choose from in this game, but yeah, Robinson had a pretty good game.
Georgia Southern covered +20, under 57. Number 20, NC State, 41-17 over Syracuse. This one was at NC State, not in the dome. But, Devin Leary, 300-yard performance, 2 touchdowns. Nice day. Sean Tucker, 100 yards for the Orange. Zonovan Knight, 97-yard kick return touchdown for the Wolfpack. Yeah, Syracuse.
It looks like I was gonna say, it looks like Tucker might be the only bright spot on Syracuse for the game here.
Yeah, I mean, Schrader ran for 70 yards on a touchdown. Pretty good for a quarterback.
Yeah, but he's a quarterback. He's supposed to be able to throw the ball. And 8 for 20 for 63 yards.
Yeah.
And an interception? Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, he's definitely not a throwing quarterback right now. Granted, I mean, this is, I don't know what number start this was for him. I know he hasn't started that many games. That's what I do know. Defensively, Drake Thomas all over for the Wolfpack. 8 tackles, 2 of them solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles lost, and a 38-yard pick six.
Solid game.
Seems like there's a lot of pick sixes and defensive special team scores this weekend for some reason. NC State covered -11.5 over 49.5. Louisiana, Russian Liberty, 42-14. Liberty at home for this game. But I was right. I told y'all I told everyone on Friday, man, Levi Lewis is better than people think. Now, 56% is not that great. 166 yards, not that great. But he scored 3 total times, three passing touchdowns. And the running game for Louisiana is what helps him. He can run himself. He didn't have enough rushing statistics in this game for me to put him on there, but Imani Bailey, Montrell Johnson. They also have another guy, Chris Smith. Those 3 are always really good for the Raging Cajuns, and they got the job done in this game along with their defense as well. So,
yeah, when I went back and watched the show on Friday, since I wasn't there, this game stuck out to me because you guys were so surprised that none of us picked Liberty. Well, clearly we all knew what we were talking about on Friday here, because Louisiana just destroyed them. But wait, that last thing you have here on the slide, Dalen Cambry or whatever, he's a wide receiver, but he has a fumble return touchdown. So was that a offensive fumble that he then picked up and ran for a touchdown or something, or like similar to the situation that we talked about before?
It was a special teams touchdown.
Oh,
it was I believe, anyways. I can't remember if I was watching this game or not, but I believe it was special teams touchdown, like either a muffed punt or a fumble on a kickoff return. Yeah, I can't remember, but I believe that's what it was. I can check to verify, but I don't know. I'd have to. Oh, there it is. I think. Oh no, it was a. Actually, it was a. Yeah, it looks like that's what it was, possibly. I have no clue. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't give you much on the thing here. But I'm not completely sure. Because it just says Dylan Cambry 26-yard fumble return. That's all it says. On a 4th and 17. So I don't know if like the punter fumbled the ball or what, but yeah. Or maybe, yeah, no, I don't know. No clue. But I think I'm correct in saying that it was a special teams touchdown. Yeah, Malik Willis, not that great. I don't know where his stock is. It seems to me that people still are touting him as a first-round quarterback, which, I'm not opposed to. I still think he has the skill set. It's just I think Liberty lost a lot last year from last year's team, and they're not the same kind of team that they were last year. But still going to go bowling. Still going to be, all right, I think. Hugh Freeze and whatnot. Maybe Hugh Freeze, because he knows Malik Willis is leaving this year. We've talked about Hugh Freeze has said he wants to stay at Liberty. I think he signed an extension, but there are a lot of jobs opening now and a lot of quality jobs opening. I wouldn't be surprised if Hugh Freeze leaves, and Mark would probably know more about that in the coaching circles, but
yeah. Wait, I just looked up the Dalen Cambry thing because I was curious, and there is a video on ESPN and shows the Liberty punter either just completely missing the ball or fumble or it hits off his hands or whatever, and Cambry goes and picks it up and runs it back. So there you go.
Defensively, Louisiana, what a game for Chauncey Manick. 6 tackles, 5 sacks, 4 sacks, 4.5 tackles for loss.
Have yourself a day.
Outstanding. Louisiana, they were actually underdogs, +4
Yeah.
in this one, over 53.5.
Yeah, I still don't understand why they were underdogs because, I mean, obviously all three of us were on the Louisiana train.
Because it was in Virginia at Liberty, probably.
Still.
And everyone's like, well, they're Sunbelt team. It doesn't matter. Yeah. All right. Number 11, Baylor, 20-10, close one against Kansas State in Manhattan, Kansas. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Gary Bohannon, if he got hurt or if he got pulled. I didn't watch the game. But Blake Shapen threw for more yards, ran for more yards, had a better completion percentage on more passes.
Yeah. I mean, Bohannon wasn't having that great of a game anyway, so it doesn't matter whether he was pulled or if he got injured.
Yeah, at least he scored a touchdown. Shapen didn't do that, but it didn't matter, obviously. Deuce Vaughn is my favorite Kansas State player. Deuce Vaughn had a nice day, 128 off 11 carries and a touchdown. Added 5 receptions for 37 yards. But yeah, it was, weird low scoring Big 12 game. Tyquan Thornton, 75 yards off 5 receptions. Defensively, I'm going with Gabe Hall for the Bears. 4 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and a QB hurt.
Solid.
Like I said, Baylor is now Oklahoma State fans this weekend. They got to take care of their own business against Texas Tech, but luckily their game is before that Bedlam game, so they can watch that and root for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Baylor covered. They were underdogs, +2.5 and under 50. The upset of the weekend in blowout fashion, number 23 Utah 38-7 over number 3 Oregon in Salt Lake City, Utah. And Anthony Brown was terrible. They couldn't run the ball. And I mean, the Utah State offense just obliterated the vaunted Oregon defense. And it was easy. It really was. I watched probably the first half of this game before I left to go to work. And literally all they were doing was, okay, we're going to run the ball, but we're going to run away from Kayvon Thibodeau every time. That's what they did. They just ran away from him. And then when they passed the ball, all right, we're going to double team Kayvon Thibodeau, make someone else beat us. And no one else was. So,
yeah. I mean, not that there's any doubt that he's going to be the number 1 overall pick still, but I wonder if this kind of game helps or hurts him.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to look at the film to see exactly what he was doing every time. But I don't know. I think it doesn't matter. I think he's put up enough in the games that he has. And I think when he gets to the testing, I think he's going to test off the charts for all the stuff, at the combine, pro days, whatnot. So I don't know. We'll have to see if I can make it to the combine this year or not. I don't know. Let's see if I can. If you want to come out, you can, Chris. We can go to Indianapolis.
I'd be down.
It's a good time, the combine. It really is. But yeah, Tavion Thomas, nice night, 94 yards, 3 touchdowns. Rising did just enough for the Utes, not turning the ball over. I think that was the biggest thing that he didn't do. He didn't turn it over. Brian Queeth, 5 for 118, the tight end for Utah. Chris Hudson for Oregon, almost 100 yards, 96 there. Britton Covey, 78-yard punt return touchdown. That was massive. Right before halftime, Oregon was going to go in down, I think it was 28-0 or 21. Because I remember it was right before I left. Because I was like, I'm going to leave at halftime. Yes. Oregon was going to go down 21-0 into halftime. It's not terrible. You can come back from 21 points. Whole second half to do that. There's 11 seconds left. They're punting the ball. We're good. We're going to punt the ball, go into halftime, down 21. But it was just backbreaking to have that happen on the last play of the first half, 28-0 instead of 21 into halftime. So I think that was really the turning point. And defensively, Junior Tafuna for Utah, 3 tackles, 1 solo, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss. Utah covered -3, under 58.5. Number 9, Oklahoma State. I know I have these switched, these games switched on the script. Number 9, Oklahoma State, 23-0 shutout over Texas Tech. The running game for Oklahoma State. Spencer Sanders did enough. It was a nice, easy night for the Cowboys, getting them geared up for Bedlam this weekend. And the defense has been outstanding for Oklahoma State the last few games. And I think that's what's going to win them Bedlam. Yeah, because they've given up, let's see. Yeah, the last 4 games, 0 to Texas Tech, 17 to TCU, 3 against West Virginia, and 3 against Kansas. They haven't given up the most points they've given up in a game this year. Was actually, crazily enough, not their one loss. It was, never mind. Yeah. In their one loss to Iowa State, 24 points is the most they've given up this year.
It's a solid defense.
Yeah. Really, really good defense. And I don't think Oklahoma's defense will be able to hold the Oklahoma State offense under 24 points. Granted, Texas Tech did it here, but I don't know. I think that I think they'll be fine. But we'll talk about that more this weekend. Let's see. Tay Martin, 7 for 130 yards. They're leading receiver for Oklahoma State. And defensively, I'm going to go with Brock Martin, 4 tackles, a solo, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hurry.
I like it.
I know you wanted to go with Tanner McAllister, though.
Well, no, I was. Yes, if I was going for the winner, but I was looking more towards Colin Schooler, or however you say that name, because 13 tackles, just missed the double-digit solos though with 9. But yeah.
Oklahoma State covered -10, under 55. Did I skip the Ole Miss game?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we did that one yet.
Huh.
Yeah, I got the Wyoming game and then the Oregon State Arizona State game are the only other two on my script
Okay,
here.
well, apparently I didn't do it. So we'll just go into it. Number 12, Ole Miss beating Vanderbilt 31-17. Vandy covered plus 35.5, under 65.5. Yeah, I don't know why I skipped that one. Because it would have been before Utah game.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Yeah, Matt Corral, great night in his final home game. 326, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And 75% completion. You had Ja'Cour Pearson, 101 yards off 4 receptions there. See, I feel like I remember doing this game, though. I don't know where I put it. I have no clue. Oh, you know what? I think I know what I did. Possibly. I think maybe I did one of those things where there was more games than we had the week before, so I had to copy and duplicate to make more slides.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll like do that, and then like I'll go back to the original slide that I duplicated to make more, and I'll start typing on that one of the next game. I might have, I don't know. Regardless, yeah, Ole Miss won. Let's see. Yeah, I do remember. I definitely remember doing this game because I remember the leading rusher for Vanderbilt, the leading rusher for the game, Rocco Griffin. 117 yards off 26 carries and a touchdown. You also had for Vandy, Chris Pierce Jr. had 10 receptions, 113 yards. And the quarterback for Vandy, Mike Wright, didn't do a terrible job. 50% completion, 241, and an interception. And defensively, my guy Chance Campbell for Ole Miss, 8 tackles, 3 of them solo, a tackle for loss, 3 QB carries. Yeah, that's who I'm gonna go with. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that game or why I was on here, but it's on the script.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wyoming, another shocker, 44-17 over Utah State. This one was in Logan, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Levi Williams, great game. Titus Swen had him and Xavier Valade had an even better game, though. I mean, 36 carries, 314 yards and 2 touchdowns combined.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely ridiculous running game for Wyoming. Total rushing was 362. Crazy. Utah State exact split in their total yards. 181 passing, 181 rushing.
Huh.
Including Calvin Tyler there, 109 yards for the Aggies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, this one gets Wyoming bowl eligible. And it also brings in a whole host of teams now for the Mountain Division. So, the scenarios in the Mountain Division. Utah State is currently not in the driver's seat now because of their head-to-head loss against Boise State. Boise State in the driver's seat. And like I said, that Boise State-San Diego State game this weekend, absolutely massive conference implications We already said if San Diego State wins, they're in. San Diego State loses, Fresno State wins, Fresno State is in. On the flip side, Boise State wins, they're in. That would mean that they could possibly play Fresno State. Boise State loses, and Utah State wins over New Mexico, which I think very likely. Utah State would be in. There is one other scenario that includes Air Force, and it is Boise State and Utah State both lose. Air Force wins against UNLV. I believe they would be in. Yes. And I don't know what happens if there is, because the only way, I think how so it looks like right now, because they're all at 5-2, right? In conference.
Mhm.
And it looks like Air Force loses a 3-way tie right now. Based off, I would think it's points for. But I don't know if that's exactly what it is, because Air Force beat Boise State. Boise State beat Utah State. Utah State beat Air Force. So if it was points for, Utah State is over Air Force. I think if Boise State loses and Utah State and Air Force both win, Utah State is in. That would be head-to-head, though.
No, but my one question though that I kind of had for these teams is, why is Boise State right now the number one team? Because they are 7-4 overall record, whereas the other two are 8-3.
Because it's head-to-head. Because Boise State beat Utah State, and Utah State beat Air Force. Air Force beat Boise State. But I think in the 3-way tie, Boise State has 10 more points for than Air Force. But I don't know exactly how a 3-way tie works.
Yeah.
Easiest
I mean, I
scenario,
guess
Boise State wins, and they're in.
Yeah. I guess obviously like conference record matters more than overall record, but it just, to me, looks weird that a team that has a worse overall record is on top.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if you have a 6-6 team and there's only 6 conference games and they're 6-0, they're in. Over a 10-1, 5-1 in conference team, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to win your conference games. That's why out of conference doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's exactly the scenario in the ACC right now. You know, Clemson is done with their ACC slate. They play South Carolina this weekend. So
it's kind of cool to see too. Apparently, Utah and Air Force are both undefeated on the road. They're both 5-0. So they're both road warriors, but they're not the best when they host the game.
Well, Air Force is at home this weekend against UNLV. Utah State's on the road at New Mexico. So I think it's going to be interesting. You know, I'm not saying Boise State's necessarily going to lose, but they are at San Diego State. My favorite thing, obviously, would be for San Diego State to lose, because I've mentioned how much I hate them this season. And it would also get in, if San Diego State can lose, it would also leave the door open for my second love at quarterback in the Mountain West to get into the Mountain West Championship, Jake Haener with Fresno State. So I would be very much excited if Fresno State could get in, even though Nevada couldn't.
I feel Nevada's pain though. They have the most points scored in the entire Mountain West Conference with 388, but they're only 7-4. That's like me in our keepers fantasy league. I have the most points scored in the league, but I'm only 5-5 or whatever, 6-6, whatever the thing is.
Well, maybe you should have done better, Chris.
I can only do. I'm the best in the league, but I just get
You
outscored.
need to play some
half the time.
defense. You need to play some defense, Chris. I don't know. I'm hoping I got a tough battle in that league tonight.
Mm.
I got Mike Evans and the Bucks defense versus Kenny Galladay. I'm down by 5.5 right now.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm sitting pretty though in both our leagues. I'm already done. I won both of them. Don't even have to worry tonight.
I'm good in the dynasty league, dude. 6-game win streak. I told y'all it was coming. I told y'all when I was 0-5. I'm like, it starts this week, and look who's on a 6-game win streak. Unfortunately, all the freaking playoff teams won this week, so I can't move up any. But I did beat a playoff team. I beat the number 1 team, Ricky. I beat him, so I'm coming for the top seed in the last 2 weeks of the season. I already surpassed you, so that was one. That was one off the list.
That's all right.
Anyways, back to this game. So yeah, I was disappointed by Logan Bonner's stats in this game. I actually would like to see Utah State in the conference championship. I thought that if they get in, and that was going to be my lock of the week for conference championship weekend, that Utah State was going to crush San Diego State in the conference championship. Still could happen if they can get in. Just need to win and have Boise State lose to San Diego State. But I don't know. I'm fine either way. If Fresno State can get in, or if Utah State can get in, whichever way, I'm fine with it. Isaiah Nair, great night for him for the Cowboys, 4 for 125 and a touchdown. And defensively, Chad Muma, his draft stock has just shot up this year. Fantastic linebacker for Wyoming. 17 tackles, 8 of them solo, and a QB hurry here. And then you also have Cameron Stone for the Cowboys, 99-yard kick return touchdown, bolstering their night. This game was also weird, though, in that it was close until the fourth quarter. Because it was, let's see here. Wyoming was up 24-17 at halftime. I shouldn't have said till the fourth quarter, till the second half. 24-17 was Wyoming's lead at halftime. 20 unanswered points in the second half for the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's crazy that Utah State got shut out in the second half.
Yeah. You can also, if you want on defense, you can go with Cole Godbout. Nice night for the nose tackle. 6 tackles, 3 solos, 3 pass deflections for the big man, and a QB hurry. Wyoming plus 5.5 over 52. Last FBS game here. Oregon State 24-10 over Arizona State. Chris, you lone wolf the Sun Devils.
Yep.
I could have told you, man. I knew I'm riding the Beavs this year. They're great.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking with this one. I had a feeling that was a bad pick, but I just went with it, and clearly didn't work out for me.
Yeah. It was also in Corvallis. Hard place to play at home for Oregon State. BJ Baylor, though, was the guy of the night for the Beavers. 20 carries, 150 yards. Yeah, both quarterbacks were terrible. Jaden Daniels continues to disappoint for the Sun Devils. Somehow they're 7-4. Defensively, I'm probably going to go with Kyrie Fisher. 9 tackles, 2 solos, half sack, half tackle, floss, 3 QB hurries. And this win is great combined with the Oregon loss to Utah because it sets up an amazing scenario for the Civil War this weekend. Unfortunately, it's in Eugene, but it sets it up to where if Oregon State beats Oregon, I would believe that they are in. The only thing is, if Washington State beats Washington, that one's in Seattle. I don't know who would get in because then it would be a three-way tie. Washington State beat Oregon State. Oregon beat Washington State. And obviously then Oregon State would have beaten Oregon. So it's another one of those where it's like, I have no clue who gets in. Whether that comes down to points for, which would be Oregon State, actually. They have 4 points more than Oregon does at this point. Luckily for them, Oregon only scored 7 this week. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who would get in that scenario. I would hope that it's Oregon State. I just want the Beavers to get to the conference championship. They're one of my favorite Cinderella teams this year. And I said this, I think, last Friday, or maybe it was this Friday. I don't remember. But I do recall saying something like, all right, Oregon State, go beat Oregon and win and get to the Pac-12 championship and win it. So I don't know. Can they do it? Possibly. They beat Oregon last year. Granted, that was at home. They got to go on the road this year. But anything can happen in the Civil War. So I'm not ruling it out that Oregon State wins the Pac-12, even though they'd have to play Utah, which is difficult, as Oregon found out.
Just a bit.
Oregon State +3, covered under 59. You know what? I forgot to put the FCS game of the week on the script, but here it is, an upset. Number 7 Montana crushing number 3 Montana State 29-10. And I asked Mark on Friday, I was like, dude, you had an interview at Montana. You know, you visited there and you're not taking them. And he mentioned some injury issues or whatnot for Montana's quarterbacks or something like that. It didn't matter. The Grizzlies got it going, and it took them 5 field goals there, as you can see on the bottom. Kevin Macias, 5 field goals. They only scored 2 touchdowns on offense, but actually they only scored 1 touchdown on offense. Justin Ford had a 56-yard fumble return for a touchdown for the Grizzly defense. But yeah, lots of momentum for Montana. Actually, let me get that bracket that I have. Actually, I can see it on my phone. Never mind. For the FCS playoffs, the selection show was last night. I didn't get to watch it. I couldn't find where it was on the Watch ESPN. But, and of course, this is the wrong way here. There we go. So we have momentum for Montana going into the FCS playoffs. They are playing, or no, Montana. Oh no, Montana has a bye. Both of these teams have a bye. Never mind. But still, Montana will play the winner of Northern Iowa and Eastern Washington, and Montana State will play the winner of UT Martin and Missouri State. Yeah, should be interesting FCS playoffs. Back to you got the full 24-team format this year again. So yeah, not a lot of other offensive stats to talk about this game. Kind of boring. But Troy Anderson and Jeffrey Manning Jr., both for the Bobcats, had a pick apiece. And because I didn't put it on the script, I have to check what the spreads were and whatnot. First, I gotta find the game on ESPN's app. I feel like I always pass it when I'm going through the FCS scores. I gotta go a little bit slower than normal, but here we go. Montana covered -2.5 in over 33 hit. All right, NFL Eagles on a roll, baby. On a roll, they are 40-29 against the States. Chris Sloan wolfed his team. That's fine. Take the L, Chris.
Yeah, this one was a little rough for me. But yeah, I wasn't able to watch it because I don't have any of the special things, so I only watch like the local games, and it was the Jets game obviously, and then the other game that was on TV here was the Vikings and Packers game. So I don't know why that was the game over this one, because it's the Eagles, so I assumed that I'd be able to watch that one. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I was kind of paying attention to it though, because I did have a lot of fantasy players in this game, with Devontae Smith and Mark Ingram probably being the two most notable ones. And I mean, they both had decent games. Ingram fumbled, but other than that, he had a good game. And but yeah, I think the story of the game though was Jalen Hurts with those 3 rushing touchdowns.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, I have been so happy with what the Eagles have done the last 4 weeks, completely changing their offense around to fit Jalen Hurts and to run the ball, take pressure off of him.
Mm-hmm.
And it has worked. I mean, they are, I don't know what, I know they're at least 2-1 the last 3. You know, they beat the Lions, lost to the Chargers, and beat the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, they are 3-1. Yeah, they beat the Lions, beat the Broncos, lost to the Chargers, beat the Saints. But yeah, they're doing something right, and you know, with how the Cowboys are playing, I'm not saying anything, but I'm saying something. That
Well, I don't know if you watched the pregame interview with Kevin Hart,
yeah.
but he admitted that he doesn't necessarily see them winning the division, but the way they're going right now, he can definitely see them getting into the playoffs as a wild card. And I agree. I think at the very least they will end up, if they play the way that they've been playing, they'll end up as a wild card at the very least.
Yeah, I could definitely see it with, especially, you know, the NFC is just terrible compared to the AFC. You know, you look at it, the last NFC wild card right now is the Saints, I believe, at 5-5.
Mm-hmm.
And the AFC, you got the last wild card at 6-4. So you got a game up on the AFC. And yeah, Eagles have a bye still coming up. They have the last bye week of the season, week 13.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about that because that's the first round of our fantasy playoffs. So I will not have Devontae Smith for that game.
Yeah, I mean, I won't have Miles Sanders. So even though I did play him this week, I think, but I had to. I don't remember. Yeah,
No,
I did.
I mean,
I had to play him. That's why.
yeah, this game though was big for the playoff picture. I mean, obviously the Eagles are a half game behind the Saints right now because they have played one more game and they lost that game. But when it comes down to it, if they end up tying at the end of the season, the Eagles now have that spot over the Saints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Eagles have a pretty easy schedule remaining, though. I just looked it up because I was curious. they still got both games against the Giants, both games against Washington. They have a game against the Jets and a game against the Cowboys. So, I mean, 5 division games, which are always tough, but I think they win at least 3 of those 5 games. And I think that they win that game against the Jets. So that's 4-2. That gets them to 9-8. And I think that's definitely good enough for a playoff spot in the NFC.
Possibly. Let's see. Yeah, again, I was happy with Miles Sanders' return from IR this game. Would have liked to see him score and not fumble the ball, but 7.4 points in fantasy, not the greatest of days, but it wasn't terrible coming off. It doesn't when you're not scoring a touchdown and didn't catch anything, which it seems like the Eagles haven't been throwing to the running backs at all. So it's a detriment, but that's fine.
Yeah, and one thing as a Saints fan, I got to say, though, and you're probably seeing your future as a Steelers fan as well, because the Saints did not take care of the backup quarterback position, and they didn't really draft one to groom for when Breeze retired. And you're seeing the effects of that now. They don't have a good quarterback on this roster right now. And I feel like that's the same thing that's going to happen to the Steelers next year.
Well, we'll talk about some extra pocket change that Taysom Hill got today.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, let's see. Nothing special in the receiving game. Neither quarterback doing that great. Trevor Siemian did score 4 total touchdowns in a lot of garbage time in the fourth quarter. Yeah, and I love what Nick Sirianni's doing with the Eagles right now. Defensively, a lot of guys to choose from, but I'm going to go with Darius Slay. He's in concussion protocol right now, unfortunately. But they don't call him Big Play Slay for shits and giggles. 1 tackle, 1 solo, a tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, and a 51-yard pick six. I mean, he scored 3 defensive touchdowns in 4 weeks now. It's like he is working out wonderfully for Philadelphia. Yeah, great game for Marcus Davenport as well for the Saints. Eagles covered.
Unfortunately, wasn't enough.
Yeah, Eagles covered -3 over 42. Washington getting it done in Carolina. You got your one back here, Chris.
Yep.
27-21 for Ron Rivera's revenge. And actually, he's 2-0, I believe, against the Panthers. I think he beat them last year in Washington, I think, too.
I believe so, yeah.
But yeah, I loved what I saw from Cam in his first start at back home in Carolina. It's just the defense let him down. One of the few times that the Panthers defense has let the team down this year. They have been really good, top 10, I believe, in a lot of categories.
Yeah, this was definitely a weird game, to say the least. I mean, you already said it. This is the quarterback position for once wasn't the issue for the Panthers here, like it's been for most of the season. Cam Newton almost looks like the Cam Newton of old when he was with the Panthers the first time. And
his touchdown run was great.
Yeah. I mean, this is another team. We already talked about the Eagles and the Saints. This is another team that's right outside the playoff picture, too. They were in the playoff picture until last week, I think. So
they're 7th going into this week, yeah.
Yeah. So, and they already have a game over the Saints because they beat them earlier in the season. So, if they can get on a roll, I think they have a solid shot at the playoffs, too. So, we'll have to see what happens with that. But, yeah, Washington is one of the most annoying teams to try to figure out, though. They're one of the most inconsistent teams in all of football. One week they look like the most amazing team in the league, and the next they're one of the worst. So I don't really know what to think about them.
Well, they look a lot better now. I mean, 2-game win streak.
Ironically, without Chase Young, too.
Yeah. I mean, they beat the Bucs last week, beat the Panthers this week. 2 teams that have really good defenses. I mean, you can say the Bucs are kind of like Washington, where it's like the front 7 is great. secondary is trash, but yeah, Christian McCaffrey again. What's new? 100-yard scrimmage day. All 17 touches, a little bit less than what he usually gets, but I think game script kind of did that to him.
I was going to say, I think it's because of the changing at guard of quarterback, because now they have a running quarterback.
Yeah, but I think also they had to throw it a lot more in the second half, being down.
Mm-hmm.
They were down 21-14, and then they were down 27-21 at the end there. I hated their last couple of play calls on 3rd and 4th down. I thought on 3rd down, it was 3rd and 3, I believe. And I was like, run Cam. Even on 4th and 3, they dropped back to pass the ball. And then Cam tried to run when he didn't see anything open, and he got closed up on the inside. But I thought even on 4th and 3, I mean, the man's 6'4", 250. He can get 3 yards if you put a designed QB run for him. So I would have liked to see the run game just to get the first down, and then you can go back to throwing the ball even without any timeouts. They had like a minute something. I think they got the ball back with like a minute 20, no timeouts. There's plenty of time to go down and score a touchdown. So I don't know. That drive, I was disappointed at the end. But other than that, I was, like I said, very happy with what I saw from Cam in his first home game back with the Panthers. And excited for what the Panthers can do the rest of the year. And I'm holding to what I said in the preseason, man. I tried to tell y'all Panthers were going to be a lot better than y'all thought. I didn't, not that I knew Cam was coming back, but even with Sam Darnold, you know, they were still in contention. And, you know, Cam's 1-1 as a starter. Or not as a starter. He's 0-1 as a starter for them because PJ started the last game. But
I still refuse to believe or admit that Sam Darnold was the reason that they were winning, though, because I don't think he was.
The first 3 games, he was.
That's because they had McCaffrey, and then they didn't know what to do when he went out.
Yeah. But anyways, McLaurin was an integral part of this win here for Washington. 103 yards and a touchdown.
Nothing new there,
dude. He's not on here, but I want to make sure I get the stats for him. Robbie Anderson, 5 receptions, 30 yards off 6 targets. I mean, we haven't seen him catch more than 50% of his targets in a while. But I said this, you know, when Cam returned, I said it, you know, I think that's going to help Robbie Anderson a lot. Because even though you didn't see the passing numbers in this game, but Cam likes throwing the ball down the field. And that's exactly what, you know, Robbie Anderson is. He's the deep threat. They just didn't do it in this game. But there was a couple of tough catches that he made that I was very happy that he was able to make those catches and gain some confidence. So that's why I've held on to him. I've held on to Robbie Anderson in a boatload of leagues because no one would trade for him, for one. And I just didn't want to drop him because I just kept holding out hope that he would turn it around. And I think he will the second half of the season here with Cam. Defensively, not a lot to choose from. I'm going to go with Brian Burns, though. 2 tackles, solo, sack, tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. Washington +3 over 43. Let's go to one of the shockers of the weekend of yesterday. Colts destroying the Bills in Buffalo, 41-15.
Wait, let's back that up a second. It wasn't the Colts destroying the Bills. It was Jonathan Taylor destroying the Bills.
Dude, absolutely monster day. 32 carries, 185 yards, 4 touchdowns, also caught a touchdown. I mean, yeah. And you know what popped into my head when I was putting these stats in last night?
Hmm.
The Colts now have their own Derrick Henry.
Mhm.
That's exactly what Derrick Henry's stats are. 30 carries per game,
Yeah.
150 plus yards, 2 touchdowns plus.
And I'll tell you one thing. I mean, obviously, we can't really do it this season because Henry's out for the rest of the season. But when the two of them go head to head on a full season, I'm willing to bet that Jonathan Taylor has a better season because of the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Henry, even being out the last 2 weeks, was still leading the league in rushing going into this week until Taylor had this game. And I'm so happy now because even though freaking James Conner scored another freaking touchdown on the ground, my bets are looking good for Jonathan Taylor to lead the league in rushing and to lead the league in rushing touchdowns. Thank God he had 4 because he is now the league leader in rushing touchdowns by 1 as well. Freaking Joe Mixon is up there too, unfortunately. And he's like 300 yards ahead of, I think, Nick Chubb's in second in rushing yards.
I think so, something like that.
Active, I should say. Derrick Henry's still second in rushing yards.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, even missing 2 or 3 games, I think, is still the third place rushing right now. Because he had a great day, as we'll talk about in a couple games too. Yeah, neither quarterback. I mean, Josh Allen, who is the MVP? Like, we have no clue who the heck the MVP is right now. Because it's like roller coasters from everyone that's in the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you,
Jonathan Taylor, give him the MVP.
I mean, if the Colts were better, I'd say 100%. But a guy that I think that seriously should be considered is Devontae Adams with the Packers.
Why
because
they
without
lost?
him, I don't think that team would be that great.
But they lost this week.
Yeah, but they're still 8-2 or 8-3, and they're still the number 1 seed, I think. So
no, they're 2. They're second.
Whatever, but still.
You know what? I want to throw one out. I don't like that I'm throwing this out. And it probably isn't even close in terms of the public's opinion. But Mac Jones.
He's definitely a good Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't know about MVP.
Why not MVP? Patriots are hot. They're leading the division now. They're now with the Titans losing, they're a game back of the number 1 seed in the AFC. I mean, I'm just saying. I think though, if Derrick Henry would have never gotten hurt, I do think he would be leading by far in the MVP conversation.
100%.
Because it's just one of those years where it's like there isn't any quarterbacks that are standing out.
No.
Also, if he wouldn't have got hurt, Kyler Murray, I think, would be up there as well, but missing 3 games. And I can't think of anyone else right now. People are still saying Josh Allen's in it. Maybe he's got to have a whale of a last quarter and a half of the season to do it, and they better win the division.
Well, I just looked it up because I was curious, and according to this article, no, the updated odds is Brady the favorite at plus 260, and Allen number 2 with plus 450.
I mean, because the Bucs are down right now too. They've lost 2 straight. Now they're going to win tonight, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
And then Rodgers, Stafford, and Dak are all tied for third with plus 900.
That's ridiculous. There should be Cooper Kupp should be up there for one.
Hmm.
He is by far leading the league in receiving over Deebo Samuel, who had a terrible game, receiving wise, anyways, this week. I don't know. Yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp are non-quarterbacks that should definitely be up there. And if TJ Watt wouldn't have gotten hurt and missed the Chargers game, I think TJ Watt should be up there too.
Well, Jonathan Taylor is the highest non-quarterback at plus 2,000.
I'll take it.
Cooper Kupp is plus 15,000.
Great. Let's do it. Yeah, defensively here, I don't know, a lot of similar stats. As you can see, the three Colts with their one pass deflection and one pick. So I guess I'm going with the guy with most tackles out of those three, George Odom, 6 tackles, 5 souls, pass deflection, and a pick. Colts plus 7 over 49.5. Ravens. What a nice day for Tyler Huntley, man. Winning his first career start. Had to come back because Justin Fields got hurt. Andy Dalton comes in, throws 2 long touchdowns, one to Darnell Mooney, one to Marquise Goodwin. And Huntley drove him down. Got the game-winning touchdown on a run from Devontae Freeman. Sorry, Devontae, I forgot the T in your name. I don't know how I did that, but we'll fix that right now. Yeah, boring game. I was watching it on my phone as I had the Fox game. I had the Fox game on my TV, the CBS game on my phone. But yeah, it looks like Andy Dalton by far is the better option for Chicago in a relief role. Might have to play this week with Fields getting banged up, which we'll talk about. Yeah, I have no qualms of what Tyler Huntley did. I thought he did well.
Yeah, he filled in very nicely for Lamar Jackson. But I mean, I didn't really watch this game much, and I don't really know much about Huntley. But is he the same style as Lamar Jackson? Like, is he a running quarterback or is he more of a pocket passer?
He can run. And is very capable at running. It's just not the same as Lamar.
Well, yeah.
You know, he, for one, I believe he's bigger. But yeah, I think he's better at throwing the ball. But he can do both. He did both at Utah.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think that probably helped the Ravens a little bit because then they had, like I said, they had a slightly different style at quarterback, whereas the Bears were probably preparing to stuff the run a lot or like contain the quarterback at least. But yeah, all I know is I mean, like I said earlier in the show, for my fantasy purposes, I already won, so I don't have to worry about it. But I was so close to having my perfect week, like having the max points I could have had this week. I only missed out on one thing, and that was because I had Devontae Freeman on my bench who got 20 points. And I could have, I mean, I would have never done it, but the player I would have had to replace it is Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
I would have never done that, but yeah, that would have been I would have had the perfect week had I done that.
Yeah, I feel that. I was shafted by Pittman as well. But yeah, Bateman didn't have that great of a game. You know, no Lamar. Bateman is kind of a Lamar guy, so he had a decent, like 5.4 points, something like that. I don't know. Mark Andrews, though, nice day for him, off 10 targets. Like I said, Mooney and Goodwin over 100 yards, pretty much only because of their touchdowns.
Love to see it.
And I mean, he got a boatload of guys to pick from. I think you want to go with Roquan with the tackles.
Yeah, I like that, but no, you can't go wrong with Robert Quinn either.
Robert Quinn was a monster in this game. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 3.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 4 QB hits in a losing effort. He wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. He needed 5 sacks and 7 QB hits. Ravens covered -1 and under 40.5. Browns in a close one. I think they would have started rioting in Cleveland had they lost to the Lions. Is Baker healthy? Like, that's the number one thing people have been talking about after this game. It's like, who knows? I mean,
Something just doesn't seem right with him at all.
yeah. And I mean, luckily for him, he has Nick Chubb, who returned off of the COVID list for this game. Otherwise, I don't know if the Browns win this game.
Yeah, I mean, they were close to not, but yeah, I was paying close attention to this one because my girlfriend and I, we have like a little side bet, and she has now started picking the games too, kind of along with us. And she picked the Lions in this one for whatever reason. And she almost got it right. And I was very surprised, but no, I was fine. They lost. So, but I mean, what does this say though about the Lions quarterbacks? Is Jared Goff really that bad? Or, I mean, is Tim Boyle also just that bad? I don't know, because Tim Boyle had a terrible game too, but I don't think that Goff would have won this game either.
Yeah, I think it was a tough situation for Tim Boyle to go into against a pretty decent Browns defense. I expected more from him, obviously. His completion percentage was pretty good.
65%.
Yeah, but it didn't throw it down the field at all. Got picked off twice. Again, kind of like Baker, he was lucky that they had DeAndre Swift to keep him in the game. 14 carries, 136 yards and a touchdown. 3 receptions, no yards there. But yeah, I think that the Lions probably win this game if they have Jared Goff. You know, as much as we trash on Goff, I think that he by far gives them the better chance at winning games. Yeah, like I said, the running backs very good in this one. Defensively, Myles Garrett, 3 tackles, 2 solos, tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. Lions easy cover plus 13.5, under 42.5. The other shocker of this weekend, Texans upsetting the Titans in Nashville, 22-13. And I can't tell you even, well, I guess I can tell you how it happened. I didn't watch the game because why would I watch the Texans? But 4 interceptions for Ryan Tannehill and Tyrod's legs. That was it. That was the game.
Yeah. I think that this was probably the first game that it was actually very apparent that they missed Derrick Henry.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first couple games without him, they were fine. I don't think they lost the game without him yet until this one. And I mean, obviously Tennessee's hurting in the receiver, like in the receiving core, but again, they've been without Julio and or AJ Brown for a few games this season, and they haven't looked that bad. So I don't know. It was just an odd game all around.
Yeah, AJ Brown got banged up in the game, but did return despite a hand injury, and wasn't effective at all. Obviously, he's not on the list as the leading receiver. Didn't score a touchdown. One of the few fantasy waiver wire pickups that a lot of people had was Marcus Johnson. He didn't do anything in this game either for the Titans. But yeah, I was disappointed. Deontay Foreman didn't do much in the game. I started him in one league out of necessity, and he didn't do anything. He wasn't the leading rusher. He didn't score a touchdown. The only reason Dontrell Hilliard's on there because he was the leading receiver for Tennessee as a running back, 8 receptions, 47 yards off 10 targets. Or no, I think I just put him on there because he had 10 targets. Yeah, that's why. I don't know why I said his leading receiver. Nick Akina, Westbrook Akina was leading, 107 yards off 7 receptions. But yeah, Tannehill struggled mightily, which was weird too because the Texans didn't have their leading pass rusher in this game. Jonathan Greenard, I believe, was out. So I don't know how they got pressure on him or what caused the 4 interceptions. Again, I didn't watch it, but Anthony Ferkser recovered a ball in the end zone for a touchdown. Good for him. And Kamu Grugier-Hill, former Eagle, baby, getting a chance with the Texans full-time on defense instead of what he did for the Eagles, just special teams. 12 tackles, 6 holes, 2 pass deflections, 2 QB hits, and a pick. Texans plus 10, under 45. Vikings. What's new with the Vikings? Another close game. But they won this one. Greg Joseph at the buzzer. Got it done. And it was weird. Usually you're like, well, we left Aaron Rodgers too much time. But the Packers, they were down 31-24. All they did was hit a 75-yard touchdown to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And they gave Kirk Cousins too much time. So, both quarterbacks, though, outstanding in this game. No turnovers, 7 total touchdowns, over 700 total passing yards, both over 68% completion.
Yeah, this was just a classic Vikings-Packers game. I feel like a lot of their games are like this, but yeah, it was just like you said, it was just a big offensive day for both sides. Devontae Adams doing Devontae Adams things. Jefferson doing Jefferson things. So, yeah, it was just, I mean, on the flip side, neither defense was really all that great, I don't think. Obviously, there's only 3 defensive stats on this slide here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed by either. I was disappointed early on because Rodgers was struggling against the Vikings, and I thought he would have a good day. Ended up having a nice day, mostly because of the second half, because I didn't think the Vikings secondary was all that great. So I thought he would have a good day against that. On the opposite side, though, the Packers were the number 3 defense coming into this game. They hadn't let up, or they showed the one stat during the game where it was their past 4 quarterbacks that they had played. It was Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, and Russell Wilson. And they had let up like under a, what was it, like 75 quarterback rating or something like that. And, or passer rating, I should say, not QBR, passer rating. And this one, Kirk Cousins just lit them up. And I don't know what the real reasoning was, but it was probably because Justin Jefferson. But yeah, Jefferson had a nice day. Adams, Valdes-Scantling, both over 100 yards. Adam Thielen, I was so happy he had a good day. 22 fantasy points for me. Finally did something after I traded for him a couple weeks ago. I traded Devontae Williams and Hunter Renfrow for Adam Thielen and Miles Sanders.
Good trade for you.
So far. I mean, I keep winning, so it's a plus. it's gonna be a close one this week.
Hmm.
I'm facing Saquon, and I'm up like 17 points, I think, something like that tonight. I don't have anyone left, but I'm hoping the
I don't
Bucks.
think I'll have that big of a game.
I'm hoping they can shut Saquon down tonight. And this is his first game back, so I don't know how many carries he's gonna get. Anyways, I think Booker's out too for the Giants. I don't think he's playing. So, yeah, defensively, Preston Smith, 6 tackles, 4 souls, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 3 QB hits. And it was weird. They really were trying to get the ball to Valdez-Scantling in this game for some reason. Only caught 40% of the balls, but he was overthrown by Rutgers on probably 3 or 4 of those that he missed. It was all deep shots, mostly. The Vikings plus 1.5 over 47. Dolphins beat your Jets 24-17, and it wasn't because of Flacco. I mean,
No.
Pretty decent day, 291, 2 touchdowns, did turn it over once.
And that turnover was not his fault whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't see it when you said about the double fumble thing. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I didn't see the play.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
So Flacco was completely blindsided by, I don't even remember who it was that came off the edge, because he was completely unblocked on Flacco's blindside and just completely obliterated him. And the ball came flying out. Actually, it was technically, I would say it's an interception because it never hit the ground.
Yeah.
But I guess it's still considered a fumble because it wasn't a pass. I don't know. But it never hit the ground. It literally went right into the defensive lineman's hands. He started running with the ball. And then when he got tackled, he fumbled the ball. But then the Dolphins still landed on it. So it was still a turnover. But yeah, Flacco though had a great game, and I mean this wasn't a bad game at all for the Jets. It was just the Dolphins just were able to do that a little bit more. But the Jets rookies are looking great though. I think, especially Michael Carter and Elijah Moore specifically. Unfortunately, we'll talk about Carter in a little bit, but. Yeah, Elijah Moore is definitely looking like the number 1 receiver in my opinion. He's had a great stretch of games in the middle of the season here. Yeah. And what's been a pretty bad season for the Jets, I think he's been one of the bright spots.
Yeah, Elijah Moore is an outstanding last couple of games. 8 for 141 and touchdown off 11 targets. What to see with your boys, if Wilson's going to play this week or not. I heard that he had a good pregame workout for this game. But there's that other question out there still of, well, we're just going to sit him the rest of the season, let him learn under Flacco.
Yeah, well, if there was ever a game to start him though, it would be this one coming up because they're playing against the Texans.
Yeah.
And there's also with the whole Flacco thing, there's also the trade conditions with the Eagles. So I don't know how much they really care about that 5th or 6th round pick, but if they care about it, then they got to be careful with starting him in 3 more games.
This is true. Let's see here. Yeah, Carter got hurt in this game. Gaskin had a nice day on the ground and caught a touchdown. Matt Collins, man, for the Dolphins. I told you that, how crazy would it be? Dolphins make the playoffs after a 1-7 start. They're 3 in a row right now. Against the Texans, Ravens, and Jets.
Well, yeah, the Ravens are the only good win there between those 3 games. But Yeah, I don't know. 10-7 might not be enough, even if they were to win out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And they're no stranger to that either. They've missed the playoffs at 10-6, I think, a few times in the last couple of years.
Okay, defensively, Jalen Phillips, 3 tackles, 3 solos, sack, tackle loss, 2 QB hits for the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, Quincy Williams had a nice day though.
Yeah, 10 for 10 there, 10 tackles all solo. I like that.
Dolphins covered -3.5 under 45, and Mark got us on that one. Lone Wolf and the Dolphins. Niners beating the Jags 30-10 in Santa Clara. Yeah, sort of as expected. No turnovers for Jimmy G like he does. No turnovers for Trevor Lawrence, though. Look at that. Wasn't enough, though. They couldn't get anything on the ground. James Robinson and his wasn't his first game back. He was just questionable with his heel injury that he has.
Yeah, I got him in our keepers league, and he saved me with that touchdown.
Yeah, they really just offensively is just blah, nothing. And the Niners offense, I was disappointed. I wanted Jeff Wilson to score a touchdown. I had a 5-leg touchdown parlay, all running backs. 3 of them didn't hit. So, and like I said, I was happy. You know, Cooper Kupp's leading the league in receiving, and Deebo Samuel only had 15 yards this game, which is so great because Cooper Kupp was on a bye. And it could have gotten Deebo very close if he would have continued to have 100-yard games like he was having.
Yeah.
So happy he only had 15 yards. It's still a pretty good gap from him to Deebo. So.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of used him more in the run game.
Yeah, it's really weird. He's getting a lot of carries now. And straight backfield. Not even, like the normal wide receiver carries where it's like a jet sweep or – end around, whatnot. It's just straight, line up beside Jimmy G and carry the ball. It's like Cordell Patterson.
I was going to say, the 49ers seem to like those kind of guys, though. Like, I feel like Jeff Wilson is also kind of a guy like that. He can go out in the, and line up as a receiver sometimes, or he'll just line up in the backfield. So, and they've had those kind of guys in the past, too. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, though, that they haven't, they drafted Trey Sermon and they keep putting people above him. You would have thought with Elijah Mitchell out of this game that Trey Sermon would be the guy, but they put Jeff Wilson as the starter. So it's weird. I believe Trey Sermon was a 3rd-round pick.
Something like that, yeah. But I don't know. Maybe they just think he's not ready to be the full-time running back yet. I don't know.
Because Elijah Mitchell was a 5th-round pick. So yeah, I don't know. I have no knowledge of what is going on with Trey Sermon. Kittle scored another touchdown in this game. I was happy with him in fantasy. Agnew got hurt for the Jags. Talk about that. And defensively, Nick Bosa. Who else? 3 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 3 QB hits.
Of course.
Niners covered -6.5 under 45.5. Bengals, big win on the road in Vegas, 32-13 over the Raiders. Burrow, not a great day for him. Derek Carr didn't do that much either. Turned it over twice. One was big. It was one that led to interception that led to the game sealing touchdown by Joe Mixon. Yeah, Mixon, 30 for 123, 2 touchdowns on the day. Great day for him. And Darren Waller, 7 for 116 on the day. I feel like that's the first game in a while that, Darren Waller's actually been relevant.
Yeah, it is because he's been my fantasy tight end in our keepers league, and this is the first time he's actually put up like a significant amount of points.
I hate freaking Chase scored a touchdown again. Like, come on, dude. He didn't have to score a touchdown. He didn't have to. It would have helped the other guys. Would have helped Najee Harris's Rookie of the Year campaign. Not that he did much against the Chargers either, which we'll see, but
no, this game I feel like at one point was pretty close. Like I remember looking at the score, it was like 13-6 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the Bengals just pulled ahead. Yeah, it was 10-6 at halftime and 13-6 at the end of the third quarter. And then all of a sudden the Bengals just exploded in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, a lot of field goals in this game early on. Anyways. Mm-hmm. Defensively, Sam Hubbard for the Bengals, 5 tackles, 3 solos, sack, 2 tackles, loss, and QB hit.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals covered -2, under 50.5. A lot of unders in the NFL this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs, another under, beating the Cowboys 19-9.
Yeah, this was a very disappointing game. I was expecting a lot of fireworks and stuff, but it turned into a very defensive battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is weird. But I think possibly, Kansas City is actually back. Maybe.
Well, I mean, I don't think that their offense is back, but I think their defense has actually started to play well. And I think that's the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, this is around the time last 2 freaking seasons. They've done the same thing. It's their defense is trash the first half of the season. And by some magic, Steve Spagnuolo turns it around and they start playing playoff caliber defense.
Mm-hmm.
And they go on a run. I mean, it's just now they're going to end up, 13-4 and win the AFC or get the number 1 seed.
I'm still holding out hope for my Chargers pick in our thing that they'll end up winning that division. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if they're going to be able to get the number 1 seed anymore, but I'm still holding out hope that the Chargers win the division.
Well, not why not? The Chargers are
6-4 right now.
They're 6-4. They're 1.5 games out of the number 1 seed.
Yeah, they need Tennessee and Baltimore to both lose.
Half game back of the Chiefs in a division, so it's within striking distance.
Yeah.
Well, how weird would that be? We have a number 1 seed that has like 4 or 5 losses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's gonna almost be the same thing. The NFC is a lot more top heavy though.
Yeah.
As we kind of already talked about, but AFC, there's like every single team except the Jags, Texans, and Jets has 4 more wins.
Mm.
So I think it's like 4 to 6 wins is like almost everyone in the AFC.
Yeah, there's 9 AFC teams with 4 to 6 wins. So more than half of the AFC.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Zeke was banged up in this game in the middle of it. Dak couldn't get anything going on offense. 3 turnovers. Mahomes had 2 turnovers. Both defense were playing. I mean, the Cowboys cannot say that they lost the game because their defense was playing like trash. Their defense held for the majority of the game, and their offense could not. The Cowboys The one stat was like they had the ball inside the Chiefs 30 like 4 times, and they got 6 points out of that. Like you can't do that against the defending AFC champions.
No.
So defensively, Chris Jones. I mean, he was an absolute monster.
Mhm.
5 tackles, 4 solos. He said in his post-game interview when they mentioned he had 3.5 sacks, he's like, it wasn't 4 sacks. He thought he got that last sack by himself, but they only gave him a half a sack on it. So 3.5 sacks, 2 tackles lost, pass deflection, and 3 QB hits. Monster game for him. Micah Parsons as well was great for the Dallas defense. I hate that too because it's killing Odafe Owe's defensive rookie of the year campaign as well. So Chiefs covered -2.5 under 56. Cardinals 23-13 win over the Seahawks. You got us, Chris. Because Colt McCoy balled. I mean, I did not think that Colt McCoy was going to do this after what he did last week against the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I was just banking more on the, I don't know if you could say ineptitude, but I'll just say it for a lack of a better term, but the ineptitude of the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Because Russell Wilson has not looked that great since coming back from his injury. And as usual, they didn't have that great of a run game. They had the whole Chris Carson thing happen before the game, I think, right? So, yeah. So they already knew they were going to be without him. So, I don't know. I just, overall, going into the game, I was kind of expecting this kind of game being that Colt McCoy was the starter, meaning a close, low-scoring game. But I loved that Zach Ertz and Colt McCoy connection, though. 8 catches for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was like vintage Ertz right there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny on the weekend that Dallas Goedert got paid. Ertz has a standout performance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Tyler Lockett, 4 receptions, 115 yards as well in this game. Rondale Moore, a weird stat line, 11 catches, but only for 51 yards, 4.6 per catch. Terrible catch.
Well, I'm sure they were all probably like 5-yard, like dink and dunk plays. Because, I mean, he was 11 for 11 right there. 11 catches on 11 targets. So I'm sure they were all within 10 yards.
Oh, yeah. It was probably a lot of screens, a lot of flare routes, stupid stuff that I hate. But like I said, stupid James Conner scored a touchdown again. I mean, granted, I started him in our dynasty league, obviously. That's the only reason, like, he has flourished after, I've held him on my dynasty roster. He was kind of like David Johnson. Like, I held him because I had the number 1 pick in our initial draft, 2017 or 18, whatever it was, when he was the number 1 overall pick, and then held on to David Johnson for too long and had to release him because he sucked with the Texans. And kind of the same James Conner. I've just been holding him. Haven't started him because I had better players, but
I feel your pain with the David Johnson thing, though, because I picked Le'Veon Bell in that same draft, and that was the year that he held out with the Steelers. So, and then I held on to him while he was a Jet, and then I had to release him in this past offseason.
Yeah, defensively here, I'm going to go with Chandler Jones. 4 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 TDs. Chandler Jones is the only non-Seahawk in the top 10 all-time in sacks at Lumen Field.
That's kind of crazy though too, because he hasn't been on the Cardinals for that long. I feel like
He's only played, I think they said, 6 games in Seattle. And he has like 12 sacks in 6 games at Seattle, something like that.
that's insane.
Cardinals plus 4.5, under 45. Yeah, that line was ridiculous. The spread, how it moved. Once Kyler Murray was announced that he was inactive, it shifted. Like the Cardinals, I think, were like 2-point favorites or something like that. And it was like, boom, 6-point swing. Seahawks, 4-point favorites. I didn't bet.
I don't know. I mean, I know Kyler Murray is a big integral part of the Cardinals, but I don't understand why it would swing that much in the favor of the Seahawks.
So they're at home.
Well, yeah.
That's the only reason. Let's see. Sunday night. Chargers, 41-37 win over the Steelers. And man, dude, you don't even know. I was so hyped. The fourth quarter was amazing for the Steelers. They just couldn't beat the comeback. And I have no idea. Absolutely no clue what was going on when Justin Herbert threw the game-winning touchdown to Mike Williams. No clue. I mean, there's no guy within 10 yards of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, I fell asleep before this game was over. Definitely before the fourth quarter. I think when I fell asleep, it was like this. I think it was halftime. It was 17-10. Yeah, that was the halftime score. And I fell asleep. I woke up this morning and I saw that the score was 41-37. I was like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, a lot of stuff went on in the fourth quarter. Steelers entered the fourth quarter down 27-10. And they scored 27 in the fourth, and it wasn't enough. But like I said, it was a marvelous game. It definitely lived up to a Sunday night game. Justin Herbert was just too much. And it was too much for a broken Steelers defense. No T.J. Watt, no Joe Hayden, no Minkah Fitzpatrick. Is a lot to overcome for Keith Butler and the Steelers defense. But again, Ben turned in a vintage Ben performance. No turnovers, 273, 3 touchdowns. They got a turnover on special teams. They blocked the punt. Miles Killebrew did. And the only thing is, it's back-to-back weeks, though, against terrible rushing defenses that they haven't gone. And 12 carry, Najee got hurt for part of this game. He got hurt in the third quarter, went in, got checked for concussion, got cleared, came back for the final drive and didn't do anything on the final drive because Ben got sacked on first and second down. And then, or no, they threw he got sacked on first down and second down, yeah. And then they threw an incompletion to an open Deontay Johnson. And then Ben got pressured on fourth down, and he threw it wide of another receiver. Hey, it was like 4th and 27 or something like that, and he threw it wide when it was like a 5-yard pass. It wouldn't have mattered anyways if what he called it.
No, but in Harris's defense, though, they were playing catch-up the entire game. So they kind of had to rely on the passing game.
Yeah, but they were down. I liked what Aditi Kinkle-Balla said on Twitter. They were down, I think it was like 10-7, and then it was like 14 to, or no, it was like 7-0 and 14-10 at one point. It was close in the first half. And then the third quarter, the Chargers kind of pulled away. But yeah, I think they still could have early on established the run more. It was also a hard thing. No Kevin Dotson at guard for the Steelers as well.
Mhm.
So you had J.C. Hassenauer there. And yeah, difficult performance. You know, it's fine though. You know, all three of the other AFC North teams won this weekend, but I don't think the Steelers are any way out of it. They're still
No, they're still in a good
up.
position.
They're still a half game up on the Browns. They are 1.5 back of the Ravens, I believe. I think. And they're a half game back of the Bengals.
Mhm.
So
No, but just want to quickly touch on this too. I mean, you mentioned how the Steelers had no run game. On the other side of the ball, for the Chargers, Austin Eckler had a career game right there.
yeah.
11 carries for 50 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then also 6 catches for 65 yards and 2 more touchdowns. So 4 total touchdowns. And I mean, I have him in our dynasty. He scored me 41.5 points, which is an incredible performance for anybody, let alone a running back.
Was that enough for you to win, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I still have Brady tonight, but I already won this one. I'm winning 185.3 to 102.9. So Brady could quite possibly get me over 200 points here.
Very solid. I think I might have 200 points too. I don't know. I might be done. I don't know.
No, well, no, you have another player. I don't know who, but you have 196 points and your
Oh, yeah,
projection 204.
I had the Bucks defense
Hmm.
against Saquon and Mike Evans, I think, something like that.
You're so far ahead though that it won't matter.
Hopefully. As long as Saquon doesn't score over 17 points, that's all I care about. I need to keep winning in my my law school league. I'm trying to get the number 1 seed. I'm like 2 games back. But yeah, anyways, this game, nice night for Alex Highsmith, 6 tackles, 3 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 QB hurries. But really, it was Joey Bosa. The Steelers couldn't stop Joey Bosa all night. He was in the backfield a lot. And Deontay Johnson, 7 for 101 and a touchdown. Nice night for him, as always. I mean, whenever Big Ben plays, Deontay Johnson's going to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I was also happy Pat Freiermuth saved his fantasy night by scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
Everyone that had Freiermuth was mad because Eric Ebron scored a touchdown, and they were like, bro, that could have been Freiermuth. And then he finally did score one.
Yeah, but Freiermuth is looking like the real deal, though. He's looking like probably the best thing that they've had at tight end since Miller.
Oh, for sure. And once Ebron leaves, which I don't know if it's this coming year that he's leaving, I think it will be. I think his contract might be up. I hope it is. I want Freiermuth to get all the snaps at tight end. I don't like Ebron being there. But yeah, Steelers did cover though, plus 6.5 over 47.5. All right, NCAA news. Florida, they fired head coach Dan Mullen. I have no idea where Mark has been for the last hour and a half. He's still on here. But anyways, yeah, Florida is looking for a new head coach. They officially fired Dan Mullen after their loss to Missouri this weekend. 6-5 Florida is. So yeah, it's a good job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta play Georgia every year. It's the toughest task. But I mean, you're in Florida. You have a lot of players to pick from, recruiting wise. Florida, one of the best states to recruit players from. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a lot high profile job, but got to get the right person apparently. Okay, NFL news wise, IR. A couple guys going off on IR. Steelers placed guard Kevin Dotson on IR. Titans doing the same with linebacker Bud Dupree. And today the Jags announced they are placing wide receiver Jamal Agnew on IR. He is done for the year. The other two I don't think are done for the year, but Jamal Agnew is done for the season. Coming off IR, Bucks getting back corner Sean Murphy-Bunting tonight. Giants also getting back left tackle Andrew Thomas tonight. So help against JPP and Shaq Barrett. The Washington football team, tight end Logan Thomas is beginning to practice this week, coming off IR. Probably not going to play this week, but maybe in 2 weeks he could be back. Broncos are in the same situation with pass rusher Bradley Chubb. He's going to return in a couple weeks, hopefully, for them. COVID-wise, a couple guys placed on the COVID list today. Falcons punter Dustin Colquitt, Broncos left tackle Garrett Bowles, and Chargers defensive lineman Linval Joseph, all placed on the COVID list. Injuries, Packers offensive lineman Elton Jenkins. He is feared to have suffered an ACL tear, done for the year. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. He has a concussion. More than likely, he's going to miss the Thanksgiving game against the Raiders. So, already know Amari Cooper, no CeeDee Lamb possibly as well. I would hope, for my fantasy wise anyways, that they would just run the ball. I mean, Zeke got banged up against the Chiefs as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he'll be fine, considering he returned to that game. But yeah, passing game wise, it's going to be Dalton Schultz, I think, would be the number one target. And then, you got Michael Gallup and Cedric Wilson. I don't really know the receiving depth chart after those guys. But, you got Brown. Noah Brown as well. I knew he was from Ohio State. I just couldn't remember what his first name was. All right. Bears quarterback Justin Fields, he has bruised ribs, the MRI showed. But the Bears announced that Andy Dalton is going to start on Thanksgiving against the Lions. Let's see. Your Jets running back Michael Carter out 2 to 3 weeks, low grade high ankle sprain.
Yeah, that's not only a blow to me as a Jets fan, but also I have him in our keepers league. So that's a blow to me in fantasy as well.
Me too. I have him in a dynasty league.
So now I'm forced to put Antonio Gibson back in the lineup, but oh well.
I was in a conundrum with my running backs. This week in my dynasty league that I have Carter. And one of those moves I had to put Antonio Gibson in the lineup, which was decent, 95 yards,
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles running back Jordan Howard, he has a knee sprain. They said that he could be out until week 15. They have a week, I said week 13 bye. I think it's actually a week 14 bye.
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's week 14.
Okay. But yeah, they said that he could be out possibly until week 15, because they got the Giants, this week. They got the Jets in 2 weeks, and then the bye. So knee sprain, that'd be nice for 3 weeks to get him ready. Bucks nose tackle Vita Vea, he is out tonight. 2 guys that are playing though, Saquon Barkley already announced he is in. Also back tonight is Bucks tight end Rob Gronkowski. I need him to get like 33 receiving yards. That's it. That's all I need from you, Gronk. And possibly the first touchdown if he can score the first touchdown. Him or Mike Evans, that'd be great. The last injury here, the Saints tight end Adam Troutman. He is out 4 to 6 weeks. He has a sprained MCL.
As if they didn't have enough injuries on that team.
All right, extensions. Extensions are running wild right now. The Broncos signed wide receiver Cortland Sutton to a 4-year, $60.8 million extension, $34.9 million guaranteed. Crazy that he's getting this coming off a torn ACL last year. But he's back to playing really well for the Broncos. Better quarterback, I would think.
Yeah.
Saints. Now, this is the interesting one of the day. They signed quarterback Taysom Hill to a unique extension, as Rappaport and Schefter put it. I think I got this from Schefter, though. Between 40 and 95 million. Pretty big gap. But it depends on what position he's playing. Overall, it's 22.5 million guaranteed. He gets 40 million if he continues to play the role that he does now. Throw a couple passes, catch some, run some, play special teams, whatnot. But if he becomes the next Saints franchise quarterback, he will gain an additional 55 million. What the actual stipulations are of that, I have no clue because it didn't say.
Yeah, I hate that they keep like dancing around this whole situation with him. Either say he's going to be or say he's not. And I thought that this whole past offseason with the battle with Winston said a lot in they like how they thought of him as a quarterback. And I still feel like this actually might say what they think about him as a quarterback. I am on the side of I don't want him as a starting quarterback. Not because I don't think he has the ability to be a starting quarterback, but because I like him better in the role that he's in. I like him better as that Swiss Army knife kind of guy. So I'd rather them go out and get another quarterback to still have the element of Taysom Hill as the Swiss Army guy.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And you think about it, though, like, would the Saints actually want to play him as a starter if they're going to lose another $55 million?
No.
So, I mean,
unless they really think that he's a worthy successor, which, again, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think it comes into one of those things where it's what I've learned in, talking about NFL contracts, looking at them is, you have incentives, and they're essentially 3 categories of incentives in NFL contracts. Most likely to achieve, it's kind of like, close to 100% achievability, 50-50, and then there's like less likely to achieve. And you wonder, I think it would probably come down to amount of snaps, percent of snaps in a season at quarterback.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's per game at quarterback, because, I think you would have to look at his per game check that he did. And, how many snaps did you play at quarterback? Well, is it over 50% in this game that you played at quarterback? all right, well, you get this much this week. But if it's less than 50%, you're getting this much for your game check this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the exact details, but that's what I would think would be kind of how it's structured. Also, Eagles, man, Howie Roseman's having himself a nice season of extensions, getting young players that are core guys locked up early. So already signed Dallas Goedert, already signed Josh Sweat, and now they signed Goddard's roommate, actually, him and Avante Maddox, corner for the Eagles, to a 3-year, $22.5 million extension, $13.3 million guaranteed. I love it. He is one of the best slot corners in the NFL at this point, and getting rewarded there. So, and they also just today announced they signed linebacker TJ Edwards to a 1-year, $3.2 million extension, $2.15 million guaranteed. So they said another young guy that is coming up with the Eagles and progressing. Finally, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they started putting him into the starting defense, not just coming off the bench and playing special teams. He is now a starting inside linebacker for them, or maybe he's outside. I don't know. But regardless, he's one of their starting linebackers now, and he's playing like it. I mean, he had the interception off of Trevor Siemian this week. That was great, leaping pick, and really good player. I liked him coming out of Wisconsin when he came out, and undrafted, but turning out well for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And then last piece of news, the Cardinals, interesting move. They signed quarterback Trace McSorley off of the Ravens practice squad. So maybe looking to get more or up the quality of depth behind Colt McCoy over Chris Streveler, who was the third quarterback. Or maybe they're just adding a fourth quarterback, because I think they said that they're going to let Kyler Murray rest through the bye, which is this week. This weekend is the Cardinals' bye. So I don't know if they're doing that just for practice purposes or if they're really looking to upgrade over Streveler at the third quarterback spot or not.
Yeah.
Intriguing move, I thought.
Mm.
All right. Pick standings. You and Mark still up top because you guys pick the same thing every week and I don't, so that's fine. But this week is a great week. I love the Thanksgiving week on the show because there's 4 games and we almost always don't pick all 4 together.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm pretty sure that nobody picked the same 4 I did. So
this is true. We all are on the same boat tonight, though. Bucks hosting the Giants. Bucks 11-point favorites. I am on. I'm taking the points with Tampa, and I'm also on the under 49.5 in the game.
Wait, so you think the Bucks actually do cover?
Yeah.
I was gonna say the opposite. I think that it's gonna be. I think the Bucks win this one, but I don't think they cover. I think it'll be just under the cover. I think it'll be like a 10-point game.
Well, I'm just saying because, for one, it's Daniel Jones in a primetime game, mind you, and for 2, I think the Bucks are pissed off. They're tired of losing, and they want to show everyone that they are still the Super Bowl champs. The Giants played them tough last year in New York. It's in Tampa this time, though. And the Bucks don't lose in Tampa very often under Brady.
Yeah, but it's Brady against the NFC East, which for some reason he can't seem to play well against them.
Doesn't matter. This is a single game. I think the Bucks can rout the Giants.
We'll see.
Oh, I forgot to say the college football games that are going on this week. In between our shows, tomorrow we have some more Maction. Buffalo 4-7 at 5-6 Ball State. The Cardinals trying to get to a bowl game. They are 6.5-point favorites at home. Over under is 58.5, 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. I believe the Cardinals will become bowl eligible. They'll win at home for Ball State. And then Western Michigan, 6-5, 4-point favorites at Northern Illinois, who is 8-3. NIU going to the MAC championship game. Over under is 62.5, 7 p.m. on ESPNU. I don't know why Western Michigan's favored. I have been on Northern Illinois for quite a time this year. I've won back-to-back bets on Northern Illinois 2 weeks in a row. I bet them live on the Hermo Happy Hour. For anyone that doesn't know, guy at Troy Hermo on Twitter, look him up. Fantastic dude. Stage 4 cancer, and he's still researching, doing all of this stuff. He has the maps, which help out tremendously. He writes articles for VR Betting. Great dude. He's going to come on next Monday, I believe. So we should have Hermo on here. But yeah, it's a great time. Hermo Happy Hour. He has these every once in a while, his Twitter space on the Twitter spaces, and great times. But anyways, yeah, NIU Rusty's Huskies, that's becoming a thing. So Rusty's Huskies getting the win tomorrow night, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Huskies get this one.
And then Thursday on Thanksgiving, we have 2 college football games, really great college football games, if I do say so myself, to add to the NFL games. I'm going to try to watch everything on Thursday, as long as my family doesn't yell at me for watching too much football. But Fresno State, 8-3, 7.5-point favorites at San Jose State, who is 5-6, trying to get to a bowl game. Over-under is 52.5, and that is 3:30 on FS1. And again, we mentioned Fresno State, they have to win. They have to win and have Utah State, or they have to win and have San Diego State lose to Boise State on Saturday. On Friday. I think that Boise State, San Diego State's game's on Friday. So it's a must win for both teams. I think it's going to be a good game, but I believe in my guy, Jake Haener, and I think they can get it done in San Jose. And then the Egg Bowl. We got the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night. Number 12, Ole Miss, 9-2, 1-point favorites at number 25, Mississippi State. Obviously, the rankings will change tomorrow night. But 7-4, Mississippi State. Over-under is 60.5. I believe the over is going to hit. Mississippi State, Ole Miss should be I don't know, what do you want to call it? A gun show. 7:30 on ESPN. I think Ole Miss can get it done. It's going to be tough in Starkville, Mississippi. But like I said, the Egg Bowl, it's fun every year. Mississippi State rivals. So I like Matt Corral, though, in the shootout. All right, let's get to the other Thanksgiving games, NFL-wise here. First one, Thanksgiving, Bears at the Lions. Chris is wolfing the Red Rifle in Detroit. And I'm going with Goff. I think Goff's going to return for this game and have a good day on Thanksgiving.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised I'm lone wolfing this one. I can't bring myself to pick the Lions. Yeah, they've had 2 decent games the last 2 weeks when they tied the Steelers last week, and then they lost to the Browns by only 3 this week. But still, it's a division game, and you even said it before that Andy Dalton is the best quarterback that the Bears have right now. So I think that the fact that he's starting this game just helps them even more.
Well, I think DeAndre Swift is going to help Darren Goff get their first win of the season. And the Lions on Thanksgiving are always a tough out. So that's why I'm going with them.
Fair.
And also, technically, the Mark didn't go. He didn't pick this game. He rolled with me, and I told him, I was like, I'm picking the Lions. And he's like, yes, I like it. So, God dang it. Chris Godwin scored the first touchdown. Look at that, dude. I told you, Buck's going to roll tonight. 7-0.
Wait, they already scored? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. 11 and a half to go in the 11 minutes to go in the first quarter. Yeah. 8 plays, 73 yards, 357 time of possession. Great times. Tom Brady, baby. Maybe he is the MVP. Raiders, the afternoon game. Oh, I forgot to say the Lions over-under is 42. I like the under, and that's 12:30 on Fox. Raiders at the Cowboys here.
Mhm.
Dallas 7-point favorites. I mean, they gotta win. They have to win now. I mean,
Yeah. I don't like the 7 points, but I do think Dallas wins this one, regardless of their injuries at receiver and whatever else. But I still think that Dak can win this game without them.
yeah, it was crazy. They said like the record of the last 3 games for all 6 teams coming into Thanksgiving was just terrible. I don't remember the exact record, but it was like it was very bad. Obviously, the Lions haven't won. They're 0-2-1 in their last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears, they might be 0-3 in their last 3. The Raiders, I think, are 1-2. Cowboys are 1-2. The Bills are 1-2 as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Saints are 0-3 in their last 3. So it's just terrible. All 6 teams coming into Thanksgiving are just on a terrible streak right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it must win for both teams. It should set up for a nice day, especially I think it evens out the injuries on offense for the Cowboys. I think it evens out the game for the Raiders. I think they're going to play it close.
Yeah. I do have to say, though, that the Raiders have more to lose in this game than the Cowboys do, because the Cowboys at least still have a solid lead in their division. The Raiders, on the other hand, are still fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah. Cowboys have a 2.5 game lead on the Eagles.
Yeah, but I'm saying they have a little bit of a cushion, whereas the Raiders are still playing catch up here.
Yeah. Raiders back 1.5 games, I believe it is. Over-under is 50.5.
I don't know.
Let's play some defense. Let's go under.
Yeah. With the way that these teams have been playing, yeah, I don't think it goes anywhere near 50.
Yeah, 4:30 on CBS. And then the night game, it's not Alan Chris. It's going to be Mike Tirico and Drew Brees on the call here. Bills at the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And of course you're lone wolfing the Saints, Chris. Of course you are.
I don't know. Something told me to pick the Saints in this one. It wasn't a biased pick. It was just that, like, this past weekend's games, especially, like, my gut told me to pick the Colts, but I didn't. I went with the Bills. And in a couple other games that I didn't get right, I had a feeling I should have picked the other team, but I didn't. So in this one, with the way the Bills have been playing in 2 of their last 3 games, yes, the Saints have also not been the greatest, but the Bills have looked like one of the worst teams in the league 2 out of their last 3 games. So just the fact that it's in New Orleans, and I just think that the Saints defense can get to the Bills offense.
And they just showed the stats on Monday Night Football with and without Barkley. It's like 4 points per game and like 63 yards per game difference.
Jesus.
But great stop on first down. Held him to like 3 yards. That's great. But yeah, the Bills are going to turn it around. I wholeheartedly believe that. Both defenses got destroyed this past weekend, and they were the top 3 defenses. The Bills are number 1 defense going into last weekend, and the Saints were the number 1 rushing defense, and the Eagles just ran all over them. Not that the Bills are going to do that, because the Bills haven't shown that they can do anything in the running game almost all season. So yeah, I think it might be a close game, but I just believe in Buffalo and that they have the players. We already talked about Adam Troutman, another injury for the Saints. Who do they have? Who's he? I don't even know who's playing tight end now for the Saints.
Probably Hill.
I don't think Josh Hill's even there anymore, is he?
No, I was talking about Taysom.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going with the Bills. Over under is 46, and I'm actually going over that. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just like the over. Look at that wishbone formation for the Giants. Eli Penny, Saquon Barkley, and Gary Brightwell all in the backfield. No, stop running, Saquon. God.
Wait, apparently the backup tight end for New Orleans is Garrett Griffin.
Solid. I'm picking him up in fantasy.
Nick Vanette is the 4th tight end, surprisingly.
Yeah, I think I knew that. But 8:20 on NBC on Thanksgiving night. All right, next Monday we will be back breaking down all of the games from Week 12, and then we will be previewing the Week 12 Monday night game between the Seahawks and Washington football team, and the Thursday night Week 13 opener between the Cowboys and Saints. Cowboys and Saints getting back-to-back special games here. Saints getting back-to-back primetime Thursday night games. So, yeah, that is the show for today. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check all of our previous shows out there. And you can see us here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you choose to listen. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, whatever Mark is right now.